went to Sofitel. It was in Brisbane. I'll see you guys there. Fucking, oh my God. Like, to the point where a couple times I got scared.
I would go crazy.
If somebody had done that to me, the first thing I would do, I would tell the tour guide, I'd be like, go to my room, pack my bags, and we're getting in a car and we're going to another hotel.
We're going to the Hilton.
Oh, right fucking now.
Yeah. I'm the one that told them.
I know. But I'm saying, like, if somebody had done outed my, I'd be like, we're fucking moving hotels.
Yeah, I'd fly home.
I wish I had that. I wish I had that in me. I like that though.
What part of that do you like?
Can I tell you? This is
what part's fun of that? All strangers who you don't. Not that they're all bad. Like, our audience is actually very cool people, but it's 1,000 of them at your hotel. Is there? Yeah. What's the fun of that?
I told the bartender, I said, do you mind if I invite some friends back after the show? And he was like, yeah. He said, will you guys stay open until 2? He was like, yeah. I said, is like 20 too many? He's like, oh, you can bring everyone. And I was like, okay. So I just announced it on stage, and I was like, hey guys, and they don't work for tips there.
Oh,
so he was just overwhelmed, but he loved it. They loved the idea that they're moving that much booze, and we drank them out of everything.
Yeah.
And but what I like about it, and this might be short-sighted, but when, like in college, when you saw a band perform, did you want to talk to that lead singer, or were you like, give him the space?
Give him the space. Do you want to know your heroes? No.
Oh, I had a burning. The first time I ever saw Dave Chappelle perform.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was a good comic. I didn't know he was like accomplished. I was 25 years old, just moved to New York, and I must have given him an ear beating about how funny he was. By the way, he's already a millionaire at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you need to stick with this. You are absolutely hilarious. You are fucking, like, I can't tell
Dave
you.
Chappelle.
And by the way, he was probably 21 at the time. Or maybe he was 25 too.
Yeah, he'd be closer.
He was 25. He was so kind. He was so kind. And he was like, thanks. And he was like generous. And then he walked away, and I think Dimitri Martin said, what were you talking to Dave Chappelle about? I was like, who's Dave Chappelle? He was like, that guy. I said, I was just telling him he should stick with it. He's really a great comic. And he's like, dude, he's fucking famous. I went, what? He's like, he's got a movie coming out called How High or whatever. Half Baked. And he's like, he was in Robin Hood Men in Tights. I go, oh shit.
That's the guy.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God. But the fact that he was that fucking cool, dude, never left me. The fact that Attell, when Georgia was born, took me out partying. Like, I never lost on me. And the fact that we walked into a bar, and when Attell walked in, the place went nuts, and they were all over him. I was like, that blew me away beyond, like, I mean, I loved his material, but that connection he had with them, I was like, dude, give me that one time.
The party guy kind of thing.
No, it's just a generous person. Like a guy who's like, I'm not any different than you. I'm a fan of Tom's. I'm a fan of Push's. I'm a fan of Ari's. I'm a fan of Joey's. I'm a fan of Joe's. I'm a fan of Joe Coy, Felipe Esparza. I'm a fan of all these people too. I listen to all the podcasts too. If you want to talk, let's talk.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I started that, and maybe I've got it now. Maybe I should get away from that a tad bit. But yeah, like,
I mean, I don't shut people down or not talk to people, you know?
You're wrong.
I met a guy. This is one of my favorite stories ever. I met a guy sitting next to me at lunch, and he goes, the Machine. Sitting right next to me. I go, hey man, what's up? I'm eating by myself.
Where are you?
I have no idea. It had to be somewhere very recent.
Okay.
Because this is a very
You're
recent
on the road.
story. I'm on the road. Machine. And I was like, what's up, man? He was like, nothing, man. I got to tell you, I love your podcast. I listen to all you guys. I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, what are you doing here? I said, I'm doing this, whatever I'm doing in the club. He's like, oh, that's great. What are you doing at night? We start bullshitting. Our food comes. We're sitting like almost next to each other, but a little close. We talk. We just keep talking. And he gets up. He's like, hey, man. I got to say, it might have been in L.A. He goes, I got to say, because I think it was in L.A. He goes, I got to say, you're really fucking cool. I was like, I appreciate it, man. And he's like, I met Tommy the other day. And he goes, I said, Tom, and Tom went, hey, I'm going to eat dinner. I'm trying to get this dinner or whatever. You're like, hey, you were nice. You're like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, Tommy, and you're like, I'm going to eat dinner. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I wish I could fucking do that.
I can't believe you met the same guy.
Same guy. That guy's definitely listening to this. I don't know where I was. I want to say I was in L.A. only because I might even been with the girls or something.
I did meet a guy like the day after we all were on Joe's.
Yeah.
And he was at the table next to me. He was like, whoa, I was just listening.
Who was with you?
Yeah. And he goes like, holy shit. He goes, I'm just listening to it like 5 minutes ago. And I was like, oh, that's cool, man.
But automatically, my story is different. If someone says that, I go, you got to be fucking kidding me. Let me see. Like, I can...
Oh, right, that's true. That is true.
Oh.
I go, yeah, that's cool. And he goes, I don't even know what to say right now. And I go, I'm going to order some food, so...
Okay, where were you at?
It was a sushi restaurant.
Where?
In the area.
In this area?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't the same one. But that is just, I'm about to order some food or something.
Yeah.
Just very casual, not a dick, but like...
No, I wasn't a dick.
Yeah, like, this conversation's over.
But the difference between what Tom does, which is like, hey, I'm nice to people too, and I've gotten into nice conversations with fans.
Absolutely.
But then there's also a kind of thing where you go like, all right, I think I should go home and just like keep my space and kind of have my time and let them have their night, different. And then I have my night, you know.
Right.
But I'm respectful and I try to be kind to people because it means a lot.
Of course, I'm always nice to people, man. I'm not.
But I don't want them in my hotel lobby, 1,000 of them.
No, that's the totally
till 4
different
in the
thing.
morning, yeah.
Do you, when you're on an airplane and people are filing on, do you feel guilty that they didn't get enough time with you when they say hi?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
What's the craziest thought I've ever heard?
I can't help it. I got it yesterday. People were boarding, and I was.
Oh my god!
And this guy's like, "Oh shit, the machine." And I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Dude, I was just." But the line's moving, and I was like, "Oh, I want him to finish his story." But I'm not emotionally involved in it.
Yeah.
So I was just listening. Are you going? Oh, this is. Oh, it's
Did you
October.
go back and talk to him?
No, but I wouldn't put it past
Boundaries.
me.
Boundaries.
I don't have boundaries. I do not have.
None.
You're so right. I'm telling you.
You don't have boundaries, but you do have cool bangs. That's what I just noticed right now.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, you left your can of stuff here last time you were.
Sprinkle hair?
Yeah.
Oh, did I really?
Left some
What's
here.
that? Your Propecia or something?
Yeah.
Oh, Rogaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
It's in our
Yeah, it's
kitchen.
here.
Oh, fuck, thank you. I probably left it for you because.
Dude, I have perfect hair.
Yeah, I think what you said, Push, is like I'm excited about doing a podcast with like insightful people this month because we're doing one in a couple weeks. It'll come out. But yeah, I should change my lifestyle and the way I work, and I think that will change my lifestyle and the way I be healthy. Like if I was home for a week, there's no booze.
You'd be unstoppable, and you'd be
There's no booze.
We'll talk about this, I think, later, Bert, on your podcast. I want to get deeper down this rabbit hole, but you know, can we do a Would You Rather? I kind of feel like I want to do the one we did for Ari with Bert. I'm just
I don't
curious.
remember what it is. Let me see if I can spell this.
How do you find these fans?
Do you realize what's happening here?
It's in India.
It's too much.
Who the fuck?
Chrysler is very lazy.
What the fuck?
Born Chrysler doesn't go to the gym.
Dude, this is unsolicited. Somebody just made
Yeah,
this
people just send these
in India.
Can I tell you how frustrating that is? If I got this, that person would have my phone number and my address.
Yeah.
That's the relationship I'd have with that fan. I'd be like, dude, I really owe you.
Yeah.
Call me whenever.
No.
Like, I wish, I have no fucking
Boundaries.
fans like that.
Talk to Leanne about your boundaries.
There's so many.
Oh, you have a folder called Bert is Fat videos?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course, man.
Born Chrysler, why is so fat? Is fat. Why is Bert Chrysler so fat?
Bert Rauer. Kurwa. Dlaczego Bert Chrysler jest taki gruby?
Bert Kreischer, you are a fat cunt. You're a fatter cunt than Tom Segura, mate.
Yeah, there's so many, man.
International.
Okay.
You have a weight problem. You have a weight problem.
What the?
And you are better than top. You have have a weight problem.
You have a weight problem.
Shut
But you slur,
But Islam,
and you are fatter
fatter
than Tom.
than Dom.
People just made these, man. Like dozens and
Around the
dozens.
world.
All over the world.
That is over fucking whelming.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that awesome?
Oh, guys, okay, guys. Okay, guys, everybody, one more time. He's fat.
He's got a picture of me up in his classroom?
He's fat. He's fat.
I mean, these came in literally by the dozens, man, from all over the world.
The best one ever is that fucking pig who won the eating contest.
Come on,
that
don't
guy's
be like
great.
that, man.
Not just a competitor, but favorite to win the hot dog.
This guy.
It's the most you can eat in 5 minutes. So, Richard, how often do you?
Oh my God.
I know my parents might fool you. Been on a giant diet and life-changing stuff. Dropped about 100 pounds in 8 months.
Awesome.
So we're gonna consider this my cheat day for the year. But preferably just gallons of water. I have 2 giant inspirations. First, my wife. It's our 2nd anniversary today, so I want to say hi to her. And there's a comedian I love. He's a big, giant, fat guy, just like me, Bert Chrysler. And,
The guy just starts giggling along.
he's still way bigger than I am, but you know what?
He's way bigger than
Maybe
I
I can
am.
inspire him.
There you go.
I actually saw him recently.
Where?
He lost.
You did?
One of somewhere. I don't remember. Somewhere that I was recently. He gave me like a jersey from one of those contests. He lost a bunch more weight.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, but he dude. There's.
I'm blown away by that. I get nothing from fans.
Really?
No, I don't like. I mean, well, maybe I do, but I don't have like an email box that I look in.
Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
You need an email.
Yeah.
And then people send it to you.
Is this another song?
So many songs. You know how many songs?
No. Tom Square and I are really friends. Tom and his wife Christina started a hashtag on why is Bert so fat, saying that I'm fatter than Tom, which is not accurate. I'm not fatter than Tom. I got the joke at first. It just hasn't gone away, and it's been like 3 weeks. And all I get are Bert fat. All day long.
Why is Bert so fat? Anybody tell me that?
It's like 50 songs.
Do you know there's people that literally go, hey man, you're not that fat.
Of course.
And then I go, yeah, no shit. And they're like, I thought you'd be huge. I was like, wait, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Some guy saw me in DC the other day, and he goes, dude, you're skinny. And I was like, I'm not skinny. And he goes, well, Joe said you're 265. I thought you're 265. I
think Joe said you were 385 at one point.
At one point, and I go, no, I'm not 265. And I go, and then it starts making you crazy. I go, you know Tom was fatter than me when this started, right? And they were like, no. I go, hold on. And I was like, did he scrub the internet of pictures of him?
No. It was, you know what? I think I said this back then. I think some people didn't know.
Some people did not know.
Some people knew that I was fatter than you, but that they got a thrill out of spreading the misinformation. It's like a fake news article.
I'm going to start Tom as drunk.
Yeah.
Tom's an alcoholic.
It's a great idea, actually.
And then some people were like, fuck no. Bert's definitely not as fat.
Hard.
Your mom's house.
Hard.
This was the best one.
I used to listen to this in my car.
This one.
It's my favorite song that's ever been submitted, I think. It's one of my top 5.
It's really good. This is Ali Zezer.
Yeah, it's such a good one. It's like
You used
God.
to listen to this in your car?
Yeah, I love this
Good,
one.
man.
Yeah, let's listen to it. It's good. Double pipe classique.
Double pipe classique.
It's a real song.
Yeah, pipe classic.
Not bad.
It's great. There we go.
I shadow dance with my hands.
There's just so many songs.
Is it maybe you just have one fan who's really busy?
No, it's a lot. It is a lot.
That's fucking insane.
It is.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see Steven Seagal's interview? We've always roasted him on this show for years, but like he did another interview last week. Did you see his look?
He looks like Eddie Munster more and more every
Really
year.
crazy.
It looks painted on.
Yeah.
What's your view of Donald Trump and his presidency so far?
I think that, we have a really unfortunate situation in the sense that,
Look at that
even though he was democratically elected, there are so many people out there who don't feel that that's the case, and we have just,
Is he wearing a gi?
Yes.
Always.
He's wearing a gi. He painted his hair jet black. He's painted his goatee jet black. And he got smaller, tighter villain glasses.
But I like the spectacles better than I like the yellow ones that he had before.
You don't like his fucking gun range glasses?
Cop shooting glasses?
Well, those made him look fatter and sweaty.
I don't know.
And these actually tighten up the look. I prefer
I think he looks
these.
fatter now.
By the way, I've done this with my hair.
You have?
Oh, when I sprinkled it in one time, it went right across, and I was like,
Sprinkled it in.
Oh yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
You got hair filler.
Yeah, I get this hair filler stuff, Super Million Hairs.
Cool.
And I used to sprinkle it in for Bert the Conqueror.
I had, that's when I really knew, that's one of the times I knew I was balding was when I was in hair and makeup for something, and the makeup lady was like, "You want me to put in some hair?" And I go, "What?"
Oh, I chose yes, and it ruined me.
Yeah, I go, "What?" She goes, "Just fill you in." And I go, I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about. She's like, "Oh, everybody does it. Yeah, I'll do it for you."
Glenn Beck does it. That was the one that did it to me.
Does it look? But did it look good, Tommy? Like,
Well, she didn't go crazy. I mean, she didn't do this.
That's ridiculous.
If done properly, it looks amazing.
It basically takes some of the gaps and the shine out, so it just looks more. Just
what it does, it attaches to the hair follicle, makes the hair follicle thicker, so you don't look like you have a full head of hair. It takes the shine out. They did me for the Fox one time, and I was like, I came home and my sister was like, "Yo, you gotta buy that shit." And then I did it for every Travel Channel show I ever did, because I stopped.
Vladimir Putin.
That's how he says.
He talks with a different accent.
That's how you say it, man. Trust me, I'm a Russian.
Yeah, you know.
Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Moskva. St. Petersburg.
What's the lip licking about?
What's the gimp hand about?
Vladimir Putin. Is.
That was great.
By the way, I gotta tell you my Joey Diaz story.
Oh yeah, tell it, please.
So Joey and I talked last night. He's like, "Dog, we go to breakfast." So we go to this place, we eat breakfast. I'm gonna say the name of it. And Joey orders 3 eggs over easy, bacon, toast. Pretty respectable breakfast.
Yeah.
I just get coffee because I'm about to go for a run.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him. Have you ever seen him eat eggs?
No.
He very lightly butters his toast, and then he goes in with a knife and cuts around the yolks. Sunny side up, cuts, meticulously around the yolks. And I'm like, I guess, because I've done that where you take a couple of the yolks out because you want the egg whites, but you don't want the yolks.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, I've done that where you take a couple egg whites out and you have one, but you get all the egg whites from the other ones. Throw away all the egg whites. And he goes, "I don't fuck with the egg whites, dog. I just like the yolks." It's the exact opposite.
That's how I feel too.
And I was like, that's my favorite part. That's why I get eggs poached.
Yeah.
Poached eggs are the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wait, can I do my would you rather now, Bart?
Yes.
Oh.
Do you need your music cue?
Of course. Always.
I think this is what we did with Ari, but I'm gonna modify it even if not.
Yeah.
Are you nervous about this yoga class?
Fuck. Not really, because I'm not thinking about it too much. I think I will be nervous when we're pulling in.
I don't like thinking.
When we're parking and I'm walking up, I might be like, oh. Yeah, we gotta leave soon.
All right, well, let's do this and then you guys go.
Prominent, bitchy asshole. It's time to play real sexual predator. It's time to play chunky. It's time to play with naughty girl toilet paper.
The urine from 2 dirty homeless men.
It's time to
Wipe my butt with your mucus.
Homeless jars.
I've been have sex with your sister.
Take it in the face.
Would you rather? By the way, you know Tom Petty died today.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, 66.
Damn.
That's what I was listening to. One of the other things that got me super excited about this challenge is I was listening to Artie Lang, who's I think turning 50, and he had to have a surgery, and he's like 50 is when it catches up to you, and I heard that and I was like, whew.
Because you're about to have a birthday.
I'm going to turn 45 on November 3rd on that Impractical Jokers cruise.
Oh, wow.
You know how many people
She
have
got
told
hammered.
me for years that I look like Artie Lang? Everybody.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, for a long time.
Can I tell you how many people this week said, we love you, Tom? One guy said, we love you, Tom, in this audience. I went, I'm Bert. And he went, same thing.
Okay. Are you ready, Bart?
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather be retarded, so you live as a retarded person,
You mean in beauty? Keep going.
or
Alzheimer's?
no, or you get molested by your grandfather on a Ferris wheel as a child, but there's funnel cake after. So funnel cake kind of makes it
So
better.
your grandfather jerks you off on a Ferris wheel.
Or
I could do that.
But he feeds you treats afterwards.
Yeah, I could do that. I'd easily do that. Only because, we have a family friend who's got a kid with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And their worry is like they're older parents, and their worry is what's he gonna do when they pass. And I wouldn't want my parents to have to worry about me like that.
Yeah.
That's my only fear. But yeah, I could get molested. I think I might have been molested.
Wait, what do you mean?
I don't know.
You have something there?
Yeah, I have a night in question where I got in a concussion and something happened, and I was always curious.
How much older was the person?
Much older. I was 13. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. So I got in a concussion, and they were performing medical exams on me. And so, but I was like, this is the middle of the night. Why are we doing one in the middle of the night? But then I was like, I'm not going to ask. I don't know. But I'm cool with it. I don't have any problems about it.
Did you come?
No. It wasn't bad. It was just some fondling. But it could have been like a testicular exam. I don't know. See, that's my problem is I don't overthink that, but I overthink what I'm doing in October.
Let's get a couple big things out of the way. First, a reminder. Your special, Mother Inferior, comes out October 10th on Netflix.
And the trailer's up now, so you can search for it on Netflix. Search Christina P, just the letter P. I'm not doing Pajitsky on that fucking thing. And then the title comes up, save it in your queue. And then when it comes down, you can watch it.
Wait, how did you come up with Mother Inferior?
It's a play on Mother Superior.
I like it.
Do you really? It's actually based on this artwork a fan did of me as the Virgin Mary holding FIFO, our dog. And I sent that to Netflix, and I go, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And it was based on fan art.
Hey, guys, let's do this. Let's help me name my next special. This should be fun with your fans. Let's help me name my next special.
You're going to get a lot of suggestions.
This is a great idea. Hey, guys, I'm shooting at the Trocadero in February. We're shooting 2 shows, but I think I'll be there for 4. But help me name my special.
That's a great idea.
Don't think that I haven't thought of calling it Burnt Chrysler, and me on top of a burnt out Chrysler, like with one arm raised in the sky and a Speedo. I've definitely thought about that.
That's not bad.
No.
It's not bad. It's not bad to embrace the charge.
Yeah, that's true.
I've definitely thought is because I don't mind when people call me Burnt Chrysler. It makes me happy because I go, oh, then you know me.
Right.
Like in a weird way, when someone goes, "What's up, Burnt Chrysler?" I go, oh, you know me and Tom. You know Christina, me and Tom. We're all friends.
Do you know what happened? I'm going to say this when we got to go, but at the taping a few weeks ago, show 1 is finished in Denver, and the Netflix reps come back in the green room, and they're like, "That was a great show. You know, we got one more.
We want you to do it in Spanish."
they're like, that was off. Like you're good. You know, the first one went great. You know, that thing you want to hear.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, and we just kind of hung out. And then she stands there for a second. She goes, I don't have any notes. And I go, okay. She goes, but I think his name is Bert Kreischer. And I started to laugh.
Wait. You say my name in your special?
Yeah.
When?
There's this in one part.
Wait, what the fuck do you say about me in your special?
I just say that because I say, you know, at some point I mentioned obviously that I look different, right?
Yeah.
So I lost
so they know it's you.
Yeah. And they're like, I get a big thing, and then I go, yeah, I was in a...
Remember the salami salesman that did the last special?
I said I was in a weight loss contest. But every show, I would start modifying different ways to say your name.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the first show I said Bernd Chrysler, and she's like, I think it's Bert Kreischer. And I started to laugh so hard.
Oh, God.
And I'll probably say something different the next show. And she's like, really? I go, yeah. She goes, why are you doing that? I go, it's disrespectful. I'm trying to be rude. And she's like, oh.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Well, if that goes to your special, I gotta call mine Bert Chrysler.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Bert Chrysler's Burnt Chrysler.
Yeah.
Bert Chrysler's Burnt Chrysler.
Yeah.
Leanne wants me to call it.
I forgot your real name just now. Did you hear that? I went Bert Chrysler.
Yeah.
Burnt Chrysler.
Leanne wants me to call it because obviously I don't think anyone will ever think I'll ever be able to do a show with my shirt on ever again. She wants me to call it Party on the Bottom. No, Business on the Bottom, Party on the Top.
There you go. Why don't you start doing naked? You could up the ante on your next special.
100% think that's possible.
Take it
anywhere that people, what's the website? Bert?
Yeah.
Listen to the Bertcast. Where's your next show?
I don't know.
All right, we'll go to his website. I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, Chicago this month. I'm doing Chicago. Yeah, Sean Berg.
Monday through Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday through Monday.
October 12th.
I guarantee we're doing 3 shows on Saturday. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
October 12th, Ann Arbor. October 13th, Indianapolis. And October 14th, the Hard Rock, Northfield, just outside of Cleveland. 2 in St. Louis Tits at the pageant, and 2 in Fargo, North Dakota at the Fargo Theater. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Bert and I are going to go do hot yoga for 90 minutes now, and I'll have a full report next week.
Thanks for coming, Bert.
I love you guys.
Love you.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Oh, the story that this road tells. Oh, look at it. Oh, big, huge meadow. This big, huge meadow. This is the Trans Canada Highway, baby. Oh, this is a downhill section, fortunately. Oh.
Fuck! Woo! Damn it! Oh, is that Charlie? Yeah, that's Charlie. Damn it! Bitch! Hey, I got you on video! Woo! Yes! OMG!
Just glass it. This is what we're doing here. Let's glass it. Just glass it. I've glassed it. I'm like,
Dirty son of a bitch! Dirty bitch! Son of a bitch! Oh, come down later for moose.
Have you ever seen a moose go down that quick?
Gene alert, denim loose all over. Everyone pull theirs up. We failed to mention that we have a few live podcasts coming up. These are live versions of Your Mom's House. They're really fun, totally different energy than a studio show. And we have actually 4 on the books, but 3 of them are on sale now. The first one coming up in Irvine at the Irvine Improv is what day?
Sperm Vine, July 9th.
July 9th. Then we do Breast Palm Beach, the West Palm Improv in Florida, and that is August 23rd. And then we are back in Irvine in October. That's also on sale. And then we have one in December that we can't announce yet, but all of those, you can go, if you go to my site, tomsegura.com, and you click on the tour page, you will see all, at the very bottom, the live podcast dates. So
October 8th will be the
back at Sperm Vine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There you go. Check it out. Come see the podcast live. Big time shit coming up, Gene.
Yeah, major. Can I go ahead and announce it?
I think you should.
I mean, I did it during the episode because it's such big news, but I'm proud to announce, finally, my special is taping in Seattle, June 24th at the Showbox Theater. Boo, 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 boo. Tickets are available at thousandranch.com. There are 2 shows, a 7 and a 9:30 taping. I would love to pack that house full of mommies. Why not? So come see me there. And then ramping up to it, I just have 2 weeks left. I'm going to Denver Comedy Works June 1st through 3rd.
Man-Friend Disco at the Punchline, June 16th and 17th, and then one last call show before I tape, June 22nd, here at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank in the Yoo-Hoo Room. Again, all links on thousandranch.com.
Shit is big time. I'm proud of you.
So excited.
Proud of you, girl.
I gotta catch up to you. You've got I just farted.
You have to catch up to I just farted?
You got 5 specials and 6 babies and
I do have a lot of
10
kids.
marriages.
I have a lot of kids. thousandranch.com. For me, let's see, next I'm at the Rialto Theater in Tucson, then the Grand Theater in Reno, and then I'm doing Pechanga in Temecula. I then hit the Dirty South. I'm in Virginia. I'm in North Carolina, South Carolina in July. And then I go to Montreal, Hampton Beach, Wilmington, Baltimore, also in July. And then I round things out in Australia, Mumstralia, all at tomsegura.com. Click on the tour page. It's all there. I have June 5th, I'll be announcing my fall date. So there's a bunch of cities coming up that I haven't been able to say, and I will announce those on June 5th. Thank you so much. Go to tomsegura.com. Hey guys, don't forget to go to yourmomshousepodcast.com. Please do your Amazon shopping through our Amazon banner. It gives a little kickback to the show, helps support the show, and we have a Amazon banner for the U.S., we have an Amazon Canada banner, and we have a UK banner. So anybody listening in those 3 countries can just do the regular shopping you would do, and you go and you support the show just by buying what you would normally buy. Also, there's a bunch of new stuff in our store. If you go to tomsegura.com, click on the store, takes you to our Merch Method store. We have a bunch of new shirts. We do stock stuff. I've signed Completely Normal and Mostly Stories. Completely Normal has a DVD. Mostly Stories is audio. Vinyl is coming out for both next month, so I keep getting asked about vinyl. Both will be available on vinyl next month. And like I said, the glass and poster, the glass and shirt, all those things are now in the store. You can please go to tomsegura.com, click on the store, and I think that's it, Gene.
That's wonderful.
This episode of Your Mom's House is brought to you by Sattva, the online leading mattress company. It's the mattress that Gene and I sleep on.
We just woke up on it.
And we've loved it. We've slept on it for years now. It is environmentally friendly. It is super comfortable, and they don't have a retail store, which means they pass on the savings to you, the consumer. There's no rent, there's no commissions, there's no electric bill. They are able to sell that for a very reasonable price, and I'm telling you, there's nothing like investing in your sleep.
That's for sure.
It is so worth doing that.
And it's not that huge of a monetary investment with Sattva, because you're getting a luxury product for a fraction of the cost. And
crazy.
The customer service is outstanding.
Out of this world. 24/7. You can chat, talk on the phone. We have people following up when they place the order, following up when they made the delivery. They also offer mattress takeaway service, which I highly recommend. It's a nominal fee, unless you want to be that guy that has a mattress in his yard. And if you think that people won't talk about you, let me tell you something. People talk about you.
Not favorably.
Unfavorably about being the guy with a mattress in his yard.
Yeah.
So don't be that guy. Go to Sattva Mattress, SAATVA mattress.com. And if you want a memory foam mattress, their company, Loom and Leaf, LOOM and Leaf, has online memory foam mattress. Absolutely incredible. Our own Blue Band sleeps on it. Thank you, Sattva.
Your Mom's House is supported in part by BarkBox. BarkBox. A monthly package of 4 to 6 natural treats and super fun toys curated around a surprise theme. We got the BarkBox. As you know, we have 2 little fur babies who we just adore more than life. And it was wonderful. It had so many great treats that Bitsy ate up. She's already too fat for her her size, but she gobbled up all those wonderful treats. And the toys are great too because we've got a kid. We forget to buy toys for the dog sometimes. Let's keep it
Bitsy
real.
likes that little blue squeaky
squeaker.
You squeak it, she goes barks back at it.
Yeah, and the newspaper. They gave us like a fake newspaper crinkling thing. The dogs just love that. Every month, BarkBox picks the best all-natural treats made in the USA or Canada and innovative toys to match a dog's unique needs, including allergies and heavy chewer preferences. Well, we got a heavy chewer. If your dog doesn't like something in the box, BarkBox will send you something they'll love for free. BarkBox is a great way to try a variety of treats and toys from local and small businesses that you may not otherwise be able to find. That's true. I noticed that those toys were special, not the crap that you're finding when you go down to the mega store here.
No, it was high quality.
Yeah, it was they're really cool. For a free extra premium toy added to your BarkBox every month, visit barkbox.com/momshouse. When you subscribe to a 6 or 12-month plan, then select Yes Please when asked have a playful pup. Again, that URL is barkbox.com/momshouse. What a nice way to spoil your fur babies in your life.
I love it.
Especially because we're going to automate this now, and then they get a nice little treat.
And finally, this episode is brought to you by Stamps.com. I got to tell you, I'm done wasting my time on things that waste my time.
Get your life.
And I'm not going to the post office again as long as I live. And the reason, the one I can be thankful to for that is Stamps.com. I used to do that. I used to load up the car with packages and letters and drive over to the post office and park and then which line and where, how do I, and then wait and smell people and just an hour would go by and I could have done all this from my own house. Yes.
Yeah.
Stamps.com brings you all the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your fingertips. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer. Stamps.com makes it easy. They'll send you a digital scale, automatically calculate exact postage. Stamps.com will even help you decide the best class of mail based on your needs. No need to lease an expensive postage meter. We use Stamps.com because it saves us time and because it saves us money. And right now, you too can enjoy the stamp services with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without long-term commitments. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in MOM. That's Stamps.com. Enter the code word MOM. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
Mom!
Guys,
Mom!
We're very happy to bring to you this episode. We have our good friend, the Podfather, if you will.
Oh my God, did you just come up with that?
No, I've heard that before.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. The Podfather,
wow.
our buddy Joe Rogan, and I didn't mention during our date rundown, but he is doing a massive tour where he's adding 5,000-seat venues.
Bananas. Isn't it bananas?
It is incredible, and I'm proud of him. It sounds funny because he's always been
proud of you.
But I mean, I'm proud of him because I've seen him just go on this rocket ship, you know?
It's bananas. It's amazing how much he's done. And we talk about it a little bit in this episode, how normal he is.
Yeah.
Despite all, I mean, that's pretty rare.
But look, if you want to see him, if you're a fan and you're just finding out that he's doing this tour, I'm telling you, you got to hop on it now.
Yes.
He's, I'm telling you, he's selling these things out. They're like months in advance and they're already gone.
Crazy.
So go to joerogan.net/tour and see if he's coming to a city near you and get your tickets immediately because they won't be around. But many thanks to Joe for coming, and we hope you guys enjoy this episode.
It's a fun one.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's been a while.
It has been.
You're the second guest we've had in 3 years.
Whoa, that's
yeah,
crazy.
we stopped doing guests a long time ago, but then now that we have this set up, we're like, we should bring guests back.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Fuck it.
Yeah, it's fun. We told you we had the water sommelier here last week.
Yeah.
Some people thought it was a joke, and they wrote in like, hey, I turned it off. I thought that bit was going kind of long.
Yeah.
I'm like, not a bit.
Well, because we play boring clips on the show sometimes.
Yeah.
And people are like, that was the longest boring clip.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Assholes. Like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
when there's
it's
too
great."
many laughs, we'll be like, let's bore it down a little bit. So we'll play something boring, and they're like, that's a long, boring
Gotta have
clip."
peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lower the expectations.
That's
and then
right.
Slam it home.
Yeah. So we had a bunch of people, but some people were, I would say most people were fascinated. I was fucking
Yeah,
fascinated.
so was I.
I had no idea until I walked in here that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he works at Patina, which is a restaurant downtown. I don't know if you've been there, but he created a water menu there. So, yeah, so when people go,
Come on.
and you're like, yeah, can I have, you order, and he's like, to drink, and you go, I'll just have water. He'll go, I'll be right back. And then it's a water menu. So you get he basically does what we were telling you, but, like a beautiful presentation, and people start.
If I went out to a restaurant and they had a water menu, it depends on how high I am.
Yeah.
If I was really high, I'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Man? But if I was sober, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm leaving.
Of course.
But if you're really high, you might be like, bring one of everything. Like, let me try all this shit.
Try this water.
Yeah. All right, we have an opening clip before we get into our regulars. This is how we open our shows.
Okay.
So we'll play our clip, and then we'll get into it. Here we go.
Around June the 21st, when Terrance was Skyping with me, Brent Spiner said, hey, yoo-hoo, Terrance, something's going on with Matthew McConaughey's penis. And what was happening was all of my men's penises were being attacked.
This shit has been done!
Who is Randy?
Don't bring anyone love into this. Yo, mom in the fucking stand!
Welcome to your mom's house with Tom Segura. And
Christina Pajitsin.
welcome to your mom's house.
Feeling it.
Of course he's feeling it. How can you not feel it?
Oh, I know.
What's this bronze do?
What do you mean?
Attacking penises? What is she talking about?
Seems totally rational.
Yeah.
What's her deal?
Yeah. I'm not
She's
really
got that
sure.
one Forrest Whitaker eye going on. That right eye. Is
Yeah. And there's something about crazy that does something to your, the way you see eyes. And you could tell, like, if you were talking to her in person, you'd be like, even if she didn't say crazy penis shit, you'd be like, something's up with her.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's the gaze that doesn't break.
That's right. Yeah.
The no
unbreakable.
blinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real indicator of insanity.
It does a lot.
There was a very serious malware in the computer system at Church of Gale, and it caused all the men at Church of Gale to cause them to have all sorts of penis afflictions. It was very painful.
Church of Gale.
I think that's her own church, Church of Gale.
Oh.
I
And
think.
why does she think it has to do with Matthew McConaughey?
I don't know, but she goes on.
The ordeal with the penises lasted for at least a good week in that June. So like from June 21st to June 28th, they were just having this ordeal with penises. Because of Jesuit trigger programming on the Church of Gale computers, they spent a lot of time in sick bay.
We haven't seen a blink
Matthew
yet.
practically had a vagina at that point.
Yeah.
What?
She said
Practically had a
Matthew,
vagina.
yeah, Matthew's penis went inward. But I think it's funny that she thinks that the Jesuits are targeting her. Usually you don't hear them mentioned
The
like that.
Jesuits are very affable. They're fun.
Yeah,
I went to
usually
a
highly educated
Jesuit
and-
college. Yeah. They like to drink. They like to party. They're not really into this stuff.
You know what's interesting about her? If you didn't know any better, like if you spoke a different language and you listened to her talk, you'd be like, well, she seems totally rational.
Yeah.
She's sitting there calmly. She's not
Right.
moving too much. Maybe she's an expert in like
Sure.
ancient civilizations.
This is how a lot of cons happen, I'm assuming,
Right.
Like, I was watching that Bernie Madoff movie, the new one, really good, with De Niro and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, it looks
it's
good.
called Wizard of Lies. And they were just talking about how, like, his greatest skill was just people manipulating. And he had this crazy thing where the craziest part of all is he was already successful. He was really well off. He's a multi-millionaire, and he's still, designed this Ponzi scheme to extract so much more out of people. And they said, because his reputation was such, and he was just knew how to talk to people,
So-
they're just handing over money.
He was just in it to fuck people over, like for the fun
thrill-
of screwing people
the thrill
over.
of it. Yes. the
Wow,
thrill.
that's
I
a
think
real
he's just
sociopath.
super addicted to the cash.
Yeah.
There's a great interview with him on Radio Lab, and it's really interesting because they have to interview him from jail. And so when you call someone in jail, you can only talk to them for 15 minutes, and then you have to wait off the phone for 15 minutes for them to come back on, and then 15 minutes again. So they're interviewing this guy in these 15-minute chunks, and it just cuts off at 15 minutes, and he has to wait. But he's describing, this waiting, and then as time went on, he talks to Madoff more and more. He gets more and more comfortable. But the crazy thing about him is the complete, total lack of empathy. None. He has no empathy towards the people he fucked over, people that killed themselves. Like, there was a bunch of people that just, one guy, which is really fascinating, he was worth $9 billion. And Bernie was telling him that he had to give 7 of it back. He called the guy up and goes, look, the jig is up, everybody knows. And apparently he thinks, or at least his rationale, is that all these people, like the big high roller guys, they knew that they were ripping people off. They knew that there was no way you could always make money, that there was always going to be fluctuation. But like even in like the way they describe it, I don't really necessarily understand finances that much, but the way they were describing it is that in like every single move they made, this one guy wanted to make money. Every single, like, there's never, you couldn't ever show any losses at all. This guy would freak out. He had like, again, $7 billion in the mix.
Nuts.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said in an interview that when they were like asking him about, you destroyed all these people's lives, he was like, what about their culpability in all this? And they were like, what? And he's like, well, I mean, they have some responsibility. And they're like, you stole from them. And he's like, yeah, but they fucking gave me the money,
Yeah, his thing was like, these people they're not starving. That's what his thing is.
Yeah.
Like we're not talking about people in Africa. We're not talking about starving villagers. We're just talking about people.
His own son killed himself.
Really?
Yep. One of them, his son killed himself.
Jeez.
This guy killed himself that we're talking about, the $9 billion guy. Yeah. He killed himself because they wanted him to give back 7. He's like, I can't live with 2. Fuck that.
That's so funny, people's relationship with money. There was I forget, it was
Actually, he might not have killed himself. He might have drowned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I might have just took too many drugs. But
there was a New York Knick, I forget his name, and they were interviewing him about, these NBA contracts are bananas. And it's fully guaranteed. It's one of the leagues that has fully guaranteed money. So not like the NFL where it's like, you have this much guaranteed, the rest of that, you're not getting that shit. So NBA, whatever, there's salary caps, and he played out one of his contracts, and they're like, we want to keep you, but we can't give you like top-end money, so you're going to get $9 million for next year. And then his first interview with the press, he was like, I mean, it's going to be tough, but I'll see what, I'll try to make it happen. And they're like, are you going to be tough to survive on that? He was like, pretty much, yeah. Like, I mean, I have a family. You got $9 million, man. He was like,
it's just perspective, man.
Yeah.
People get crazy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because if he's going out, I mean, I follow all these kids on Instagram, like Cameron Dallas. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's like the millennial hot shit. He's like this hot 18-year-old boy. He and his friends, they
have to get into this business.
you're
This is
gonna
a great
die.
business. Listen to
They don't have talent. They're just like cute boys on Instagram, and they do these meet and greets where they meet like gaggles, just auditoriums, theaters full of like tween, pre-adolescent girls and their parents, and they hug them and take like chaste pictures. And millionaires. He's on a Dolce & Gabbana
There's
ad.
no skill set.
None. No
to
talent.
meet. It's just they follow them on Instagram and
So
they're like
good.
cute teen boys.
Yeah.
And then they
Yes.
get paid to meet the people.
It's fascinating. So there's a Netflix show called is it Chasing Cameron?
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with it. Now the thing is that they're spending their money like crazy because I follow them all on Instagram, and every week it's like, here's my new Ferrari, here's the new Lamborghini I'm leasing, here's the new house I'm renting, and you're like, you're not even buying the
buy
house.
some shit.
Like,
Buy that house, dude. Get some equity going.
Yeah. They're
They're
just
18.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're also like, I think
Oh, it's
they
so
don't
great.
realize that window of cute girls being cute and the girls being like, it's you, is very limited.
Yeah.
Everybody said that about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
But they keep growing new ones. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Kardashians?
yeah, like in the different strokes, and they added like the red-haired kid to make the show appealing again.
You talking about the Chase or the Kardashians?
No, the Kardashians.
Oh.
So now Kylie's being groomed. to be the
Do you
next
think that's
Kim.
what keeps it going? It's because
Yes.
I think it's all about Kim.
Really?
Yeah, it's Kim and
She is
Kanye.
kind of, even though
It's all about her.
there's a real mother, like Chris, Kim
Yeah.
is like the matriarch of the...
Did you guys cover her fake ass?
No.
Her fake ass photos from Mexico?
No, but I think I saw some of those.
Oh, well, here's the deal. They always hire their own paparazzi, and the paparazzi pretends to just casually catch them taking pictures. But in Mexico, there was real paparazzi waiting, along with their fake paparazzi. So their fake paparazzi takes the photos, and then they edit them. They smooth out all the cellulite and all the
Because who
bullshit.
doesn't have it? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's normal human part of
Yeah.
human, especially
Yeah.
if you have a big fat ass
yes,
like that.
it's made of fat.
But it's a fake fat ass, and it's super obvious in the new pictures. Look at this.
Really?
Yeah.
Get your life got,
That's
Kim.
the real one. Like, look at the ones on the left. Like, where in life would you have? That's
Yeah.
a tumor.
Right.
Right.
That's a full diaper.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a full diaper and a
It
tumor.
totally is, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
her legs are so scrawny, and
Yeah.
then she has this giant,
It's enormous.
fake butt. So what they would do with Photoshop is stretch out the thigh to meet the ass, so it doesn't look so fucking
So
gross.
is this like a
that's
doctored one?
doctored.
Yeah.
See the difference?
Yeah.
The doctored ones, they make it look less preposterous.
Right.
But the real one, it just looks like cheese.
hilarious.
Gross. It's like it's just a like that. What the fuck is that? What is that? What are you doing to your ass? It's so gross.
It is
So
gnarly.
crazy.
But it's so nuts that someone
It is a good one.
wants to do that to their body. Like
Yeah.
she's stuffing something in there. I don't know what it is, but there's no way in nature you would have those skinny ass legs like that that are total unathletic legs. That's
Right.
that's
Look
the
at
legs
that.
of someone who doesn't
And
work
that's like
out.
her sister. Yeah, exactly. Right. There's no muscle at all.
No, nothing. I mean, she maybe works out a little bit. Like, look at her scrawny arms. Like,
Yeah.
she's not an athletic person.
Right.
If you have an ass like that, you should be able to jump over the moon.
Right.
Right.
Right? That's someone who can do hurdles.
But she's got a good. So do you think? Wait, but she looks good everywhere else. These are all Photoshop.
I
What you're
mean,
saying? The
it's hard to.
front,
I
like-
mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah, the stomach looks
Everything's fake. I mean, when you say she looks good, it's like, yeah, she's not fat.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but that's it.
So
Everything else is just all surgery.
This is the
definitely
infamous.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like totally.
Fake as fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's her whole thing. She's known for her ass. Like, Jennifer Lopez has a legit Latina ass.
Crazy.
Like, that's her real ass.
Yeah.
Her legs match that ass.
Right.
Like, take a picture. You go get Jennifer Lopez's ass. She's got those big, thick mommy thighs.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yep.
big ass. And
Mommy thighs.
that's all there. That's real. You know, you look at that, you go, ooh, baby.
Yeah.
That's real. That's a real big, juicy ass.
Got that ass, girl.
Yeah, see how her thighs are so thick? They
Yeah.
meet the ass?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's all
That's a normal-
proportionate.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it's supposed to look like. She's a dancer. Oh, classy. Hi, Mom.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. That's dancing all fucking day,
all
all
of her life.
days a week. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an athlete's ass.
Yeah.
That's a girl who can. That's a girl who can bounce around and move and, you know, I mean, can you imagine if you had to watch Kim Kardashian dance on a stage?
No.
Those little spindly legs carrying that diaper around.
Yeah.
It does look like a
It's
dirty
a full baby diaper.
We see that all day with our
Yeah.
son. It totally looks like.
Yeah.
See, that's what an ass, a big, juicy, real ass is supposed to look like. It's not preposterous, it's just outstanding.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know she had a butt implant. That's
She's got something going on.
My
More
mind
than
is-
one, I would say. That's
See, there's a photo there that has the two of them side by side. You just cursored over it right there. That's Jennifer Lopez and Kim Kardashian. The one with the white right here.
Here? Here. Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
See,
let's
the one on the left is Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
That's a real ass. The one on the right is Kim Kardashian.
Is it?
Yeah, what am I ass obsessed? I'm fake.
I know. Why do you know so much
You are.
about this?
Spent some time doing this, man.
I got issues.
Going down the wormhole.
Well, it's a very bizarre thing.
It is a
Our
bizarre
thing.
attraction to shapes is very bizarre too.
True.
Like fake tits. Like we know they're fake.
That always astounds me. Like it's not that they look like bigger breasts; they look like big fakers.
And you
Yeah.
don't care.
It's a different thing.
You guys like it.
Some guys.
Yeah, some
I would
guys,
say
yeah.
some guys. I mean, some guys, meaning it's a ton of guys, but some guys make that distinction like definitely not into that.
Yeah.
See, but I mean, you've said it before that you prefer hungry tits over big fakers any day.
Hungry little ones, yeah, that need to be fed, yeah. I would rather give spoonfuls of this pasta to those hungry tits than I don't like big fakers, man.
Yeah, there's something weird about them for sure. It's
now,
like a trick.
I will say a really good job of fakes. Like there are some magicians out there that create amazing. Like they still look. You still go like, oh yeah, those look good.
Yeah.
But I still prefer real ones. I don't know. I just like them more.
Look,
well, there's also a body dysmorphia thing.
Yeah,
right?
because where does it end? Look, once you have a baby too, your tits get mushy. That's it. That's just it's nature. So what should I do? Should I hoist them up? Should I have them reduced?
Don't talk about it, first of all. Yeah. Keep that shit to yourself. With no women are going to have kids, and our population's going to die off.
That's true.
You got a mom bod.
Keep it quiet, Jesus.
But it's fine. But you got to surrender. It's also part of life.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the trade-off for making life.
Now, are these real or are these fakers?
Being a personal trainer and nutrition advisor, I'm very much into fitness, having a clean and healthy body. There are surprisingly a lot of nutritional benefits from eating semen, some of which I'm going to read out to you now.
She eats a lot of cum? Yeah, teaspoon.
Semen contains over 200 proteins, several helpful vitamins, minerals, vitamin C, calcium, chloride, citric acid,
chlorine, that's not good for you.
Nitrogen.
Magnesium,
B12,
potassium, sodium, vitamin B12, and zinc. Wow, that's a lot in a shot. Please excuse me.
Imagine if that was your kid. Kids on YouTube talking about eating cum.
Yeah.
We should all eat cum.
Well, what I like about this, because we've had other cum-eating clips on the show, is the science that this woman has put towards it, that she's a fitness expert, which is kind of neat. We don't often have experts.
Yeah.
What does that mean, though? What do you have to do to be a fitness expert?
You can just say you are, I think.
Like being
a little bit.
Yeah.
And a life coach, anybody can say that. There's no certification.
Put on that sports bra, and then you're like, I'm a fucking fitness expert.
Yeah, the life coach thing's a weird one.
Yeah, it's a bunch
Anyone can sign up for that shit.
I was watching Anthony Robbins' Instagram stories. Tony Robbins is he's in Australia, and he gets out to that what's that Black Eyed Peas song, Tonight's Gonna Be a Good Night, and he's out there, yes, and he's clapping with his big fucking Frankenstein hands, Ma, fire, and he's like stomping around on stage, but it's all like, it's like his energy is kind of forced, and he's a little too wide around the waist, which means he's eating a little too good, he's living it up a little too much, and so yes, we're all excited, we're gonna prosper here.
Everybody say "I."
Yeah.
That one makes me crazy.
And it says in one of the photos, I saved the photo because I was laughing so hard. I saved it on my phone because it said "Savage." There's a picture of him, and he's dancing around clapping, and it just says "Savage." I'm like, settle the fuck down, buddy.
Yeah.
Here. Where is it?
He, by the way, that life coach thing.
Look.
Let me see.
Savage. That's on his Instagram story.
So
why is that savage?
It's him with his hands in his pockets, with his dad bod.
Relaxed.
Some savage.
So, I agree. I like Tony Robbins a lot, but the fake energy thing, if I went to his seminar and he made me fucking stand up and do jumping jacks every 5 minutes, I'd blow my brains out. I don't like that stuff.
He's like,
He's a fucking monster.
He's a giant human,
He
right?
has a giantism or whatever.
Yeah.
Does he actually?
He does. Has a pituitary
You can tell too, like,
issue.
because even the jaw, the facial features.
So he has like a very mild form of it. Is
I
that
think
what it
so.
is?
Yeah.
Some
He
form,
has a giant hog.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's part of what his confidence is.
For
Right?
sure. Every time he's probably meeting with his team, there's enough pushback on something. He goes, "Let me show you something."
It's a fat roll of carpet.
He's like, "Look at that thing."
Slaps that thing down on the
And then
table.
the intern's like, "He's got a point."
Rolled up pizza dough.
Oh yeah. It looks like one of those Cinnabons you buy at the grocery
Yeah,
store.
like pop open.
Pop open.
Sure.
I
Bread
love
comes
those.
out.
Those are good.
Those are so good.
By the
Speaking
way,
of good, look how thin you are.
Thank you,
healthy
buddy.
bastard.
I've been working at it.
Thinner than Bert still, I think.
Oh, well, Bert went right back.
By the way, so that whole
Wait,
experience,
read her comments though. Do you think?
Oh, yeah, this is
Do you think
hilarious.
people are? This is hilarious.
I've
can't
been
stop
drinking
there.
comfort
she-
vitamins for years.
Is
I know.
Oh, she's got cum in a bowl?
It's a friend.
It's a friend.
She's like, I'm not in a relationship. A friend did this for me.
What a nice guy.
Well, listen, I would say, honey, I'll come in the bowl for you, but honestly, the best way is you just suck it out. That way you get it all. I mean, just for your sake.
I know.
I have a feeling a lot of guys feel that way too.
Let me watch this. This isn't porn. I'm not into watching people eat cum.
No.
It's weird because outside of porn, it's disgusting.
I think in porn, by the way, when it's like 8 dudes in a glass, that is fucking gnarly.
Oh, those are my favorite. I have those
You like
bookmarked.
those?
No. I have them all bookmarked. Oh, there's not enough guys. Only 8 guys? She's hungry. Feed her.
And it's so, like, you can tell there's real savages in porn who are just like, and they keep it, and it's like no big deal. But you can also see in the face, like, you can read someone's soul when they're like, and you see that, and they're like,
the flinchers.
The flinch,
ones with the fake enthusiasm.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's gnarly.
But you got to think the ones that are really into it, like, no, they're not. I mean, you've got to be so fucking damaged to be like, I love 8 of it, 8 guys, 10 guys.
No, it's
Right?
not.
It's a teaspoon that was produced.
Oh, mommy.
To give you an idea.
She's going to get close to the camera.
It has that kind of. It smells quite mellow.
It smells like bleach.
Oh, that's not my nose.
Oh, no. Don't want
There's
that.
even more benefits to drinking semen for women because it's
there you go,
actually
babe.
antidepressant because it contains melatonin.
I can just take
God, I don't like
melatonin.
Ooh, yeah, you
audience
just get
with
that from vitamins. All right, I don't.
Ooh, I just got the chills for real, though.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, she's showing it to you. She's dripping in her
You
mouth.
nasty as hell.
Nasty.
Surprisingly so.
No, it's not surprising.
Well, let's
It's
see
cum.
if everybody's
The guy who
who's what they're writing. I produced some of my own semen videos. Watching this. Give me a call if you ever need some straight from the source.
right from the tap.
I hope you at least give the donor a hand job, you selfish twat. I have lots of semen I can unload on those big breasts. Jesus Christ.
Why not disable the comments
I
for
know.
this
No,
video?
no,
Like,
no,
is
no.
she so...
Keep
Man.
him rocking.
Would you date her knowing she's drunk? She drank so many cum shots? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, who cares?
I used to have a whole bit about that.
Yeah?
I dated a girl once, and she told me that when guys drink fruit juice, especially pineapple juice, it makes your cum taste better. And I was like, how many dicks do you have to suck before you figure that out?
Yeah.
Like, that is...
It's not
That's
one
like
or two.
asparagus?
Yeah.
Not good. Okay, let's try roast beef. It's like the idea that you figured that out through trial and error. Like, there's something really delicious about your cum today. Like, what's different?
What did
And
you
then
have?
What's going on with my diet?
To do an autopsy of it, too.
Oh, I drank some water and
I had pineapple at lunch. I got some water from Hungary. That helped.
Did you? One thing I don't think you got to see throughout. There was a 4-month buildup basically to the weigh-ins, the Bird Who Is Fat weigh-ins, where Bird Kreischer and I came on.
Well, I did see a little bit of it on Instagram and on Twitter with the hashtag Bird is Fat.
You saw some of that. Did you see how? I mean, like we had. I want to show you this. This is like people would call in or like send in videos saying Bird is Fat in different languages.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Why is Bert Kreischer so fat?
Robert Rauer. Kurwa, dlaczego Bert Kreischer jest taki gruby?
Bert Kreischer, you are a fat cunt. You're a fatter cunt than Tom Segura, mate.
And then this was my favorite thing. This was amazing. People that listen to the podcast that teach English as a second language would use the whole fat battle to teach English abroad in different countries. So this is in India, in Japan.
You have a
Oh my
great
God.
problem. You have a
It's in India.
And you are better than Tom.
Oh my God.
Doesn't go to the gym.
Whistler.
Oh my God. Does this freak you guys out when you see how popular this is?
I love it.
Yeah. When I mean, there was. I remember the first time we figured out that anyone was listening. It was back when we were with Red Band. So this is like 2010 or 2011. and we were doing shows, and we put out a thing like, hey, tweet this. And the first time that we saw, like, the next day, that it was pages of people tweeting it, I was like, oh, there's actually people. I thought there was like 100 people listening to this thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I didn't have any idea of it. But when they got to this thing, and they're coming in from different parts of the world.
And then we did a thing of Hey Mommy Thanks Jeans where we would go through. Have you seen those?
Yes. Yeah.
Where you just say that to like the teller, and then we started getting submissions from all over the world.
All
from
over the
police.
Police did it.
People.
Like in the squad car.
Yeah, in the squad car, pulling people over. It was.
We had a cop
so
do it. He ordered his whole, like, on the job. He used all the inside language to order it. Like, he's in uniform, and, like, it's just bananas, man.
I like, you know what I like is the silliness of it. Like the fact that all over the world, something that's stupid, it's a shared joke.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I like, stupid.
Yeah, we just got like hundreds of these, man. Like hundreds of them.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's strange, right?
It's strange.
This whole podcast thing is very odd.
Yeah.
Your podcast, by the way, like I remember doing. I'm on like I think episode 3 or 5 of your podcast.
Wow.
Like somebody sent me the thing once. They have like it documented all the episode numbers, and they're like you're on like one of the first 5 or 7. And I remember it was on your couch in your office at home.
Yeah.
And you kept telling me to sit forward.
Yeah, the couch is weird.
Yeah.
Like couch seems like it's a good idea, but it's a terrible idea.
But I wanted to ask you, who gave like I remember. you said that like you like the Opie and Anthony model of like just talking.
Yeah.
But did anyone else have one where you're like, oh, people will listen to this? Like, were you thinking of someone else's podcast? Like, how did you know anybody would listen to one?
I think Adam Carolla had a podcast.
He had it
at
back
the
then?
time. I think he did. But when he had it, it was like a radio show.
Yeah.
He did his like a radio show.
Still does, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Well, that's actually his downfall now, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think people they don't want to hear commercials every 15 minutes.
Right.
It's not necessary, you know? And I think I just liked how Opie and Anthony had just people come in with no structure,
Yeah.
a bunch of comics, and just hang out and start talking.
Did you ever imagine like that your podcast would be like where it's at now is crazy, man. It is really crazy.
No, there's no way I could have imagined it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have believed it.
It's so nuts.
No, it's just
Bananas.
Yeah, I just thought it was fun to do.
I mean, and like people mention it to me all the like when I'm in an airport, they'll mention they're like, it still happens. They'll even mention the weight loss. Like I saw the weight loss podcast last week, and like, but
that
I mean, it's
podcast
everywhere.
got one episode got more than 6 million, and the other one was like close to 7 million.
That's so crazy.
That's nuts.
Downloads.
That is nuts.
And that's
man.
then there's YouTube like,
views on top of it. Yeah,
millions on YouTube.
Yeah.
How
It
did
was
you
amazing.
even know? How did you know? I mean, I remember we heard, oh, Joe's doing a podcast. Well, what is that? Like, how
Yeah.
did you even hear about something
Well,
like
I
this?
started doing it on Justin TV, which was like this online webcasting thing way back in the day. And what we would do is we would do it live from the green room. And Joey Diaz would always get mad. Shut that fucking thing off.
Yeah, yeah.
We'd have a laptop and we'd be streaming from a laptop, like from the little webcam. So we'd have a little. This was back before laptops had webcams built in.
Yeah.
So we'd put a little webcam on top of it.
Sure.
And we'd talk,
Right.
and people would
Oh my
like.
God.
And you were doing that
Remember this.
before all this?
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then that was probably like 2003 or something.
Whoa.
Like that. Yeah.
That's really long ago.
Yeah. And then when I got back from Colorado, I was kind of bummed out. And I had to move back to California because my wife was pregnant and, we couldn't live at altitude because we were like in the mountains.
I went to that house.
I was so happy up there.
I remember that. I went to that house when you were checking it out.
Yeah.
We were doing Comedy Works.
That's right.
And we
Yeah.
drove up there, and man, it was like up this crazy road, and like a narrow mountain road, and at the very top, it was beautiful.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
Well, for me, it was a perfect combination. It was the perfect balance for like these shows where all these people and the UFC, all these people,
Yeah.
and then up there just nature and quiet.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is what I need. I need
Yeah.
to balance myself out.
Sure.
Like just to have enough calm so that all this craziness sort of makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah. Now, so the show, the podcast, obviously has gotten bigger and bigger. We've been talking about because we all know people that are like you were a well-known guy when I met you for sure, but you've gotten considerably more famous. But you're not a crazy lunatic.
Yeah, how does that work?
How does that work? You think?
I don't know. What do you mean?
But I mean, like we all know people that like can't handle fame well.
Well, I do a lot of really difficult shit outside of comedy.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it.
Do you think
part
so?
Of it, yeah. I think part of it is, first of all, I have zero obsession with fame. Like, if all my fame went away tomorrow, I'd be totally fine with it. As long as I have health and as long as I can pursue my interests, I'm 100% fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in fame. I'm interested in doing a good job.
Yeah.
Like, I know that when people come to see me that I have a massive responsibility and I work hard on my stand-up and I work hard on my writing, and if I have a bad set, it will fuck me up for months.
Yeah.
And it'll make me, like, batten down the hatches and grind harder. Like, I don't take it lightly at all.
Right.
So that's part of it, too. But it's also... I do a lot of different stuff. Like I do yoga, I do jujitsu, I do archery, I do a lot of working out. I've been running recently. I do difficult shit. And in doing difficult shit, you get humbled. Like you're always getting your ass kicked. Like
Yeah.
when I run the mountains near my house.
Yeah.
It's so fucking hard, man. Like every time I do it, like I know like that there's people that can do it way better. I know there's people that are in way better shape. And I know that every time I do it, I get a little bit better. And so I just keep pushing at it.
Yeah.
So I just concentrate, excuse me. I just concentrate on doing difficult things.
Do you think though that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's probably a way healthy thing of doing. So basically, you're saying that I'm not focused on my ego and making me a bigger star, more famous. That's usually what people do, right? Like, I got to grow this thing. Your focus is external, which I think is better as a human being.
Yeah, I
right?
think it's definitely better as a human
Yeah.
being. I think I don't want. I have zero focus on being more famous. Zero.
Right.
I pass on everything. Like as far as like doing talk shows or doing magazine articles or interviews, I pass on everything.
I never see you.
I don't
That's
do
right.
shit. I don't do
So
shit.
do you think maybe that these people who don't handle it well, it's that their whole focus becomes just that? They're like,
Well, you
maintaining
hear about them too much. Like Amy Schumer's a perfect example. You hear about her way too much. Like there was this big Google story. I pulled up my Google. There's a story about her breaking up with her boyfriend. There was a story in Google that she broke up with her boyfriend. Like, why the fuck is that a story?
Right.
Because everything's a story. Because she's probably got a publicist,
Yeah.
and the publicist wants to make sure you get your name out there all the time. Guess what? People get fucking sick of hearing you.
Oh, yeah.
You get- so if people want, and I'm sure people sick of hearing me too, but if you don't want to hear me,
Yeah, you
it's
don't have-
easy.
yeah.
It's easy to not hear me. Like you got to go looking for me to hear me. I think the more you put yourself out there, especially today, with we're not talking about the 1990s. Like with social media, it's so easy to get the word out for all the different things that you want to do that there's no need to do all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And if you start doing all that other stuff, I mean, you can gain a few new fans, but you also get annoying.
Yeah.
You know, we all
So
know
true.
we all know people that are just overexposed.
Yeah.
You know who taught me that?
Who?
Daniel Tosh.
I was about to bring him up.
He's the best.
Yeah, and he has that thing. He doesn't do talk shows.
He's the best. We talked about it at the Improv, and he made total sense with me, and it really, really like cranked home. You know, really like, wow, yeah. He's like, yeah. He goes, I don't do anything. He goes,
Wait, so sorry, go ahead.
no. He was just like, I'm already famous enough.
Right.
Yeah, and he goes, I'm doing an hour a week on a television show.
That's enough.
Where like they get to see me like
So-
on TV, so I don't need to do more than that. Like there's millions of viewers watching this thing.
And also, I guess the thinking being, those who like me are already engaged with me.
Yeah.
Why am I annoying the rest of the world? Like,
Yeah.
if you're not into it,
Well, my
then-
podcast built up 100% from someone telling other people.
Right.
100%. I didn't do anything to promote it. I've never done anything. I've never done.
That's bananas.
Yeah. I had one big bump when Rolling Stone did a story on me, and that was one of the most uncomfortable weeks. That guy following me around and hanging out and staring at me and writing things down. Like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like weird.
But that did give a bump though.
Yeah, that was a bump for sure. That gave me a bump. But all the other bumps are it was a gradual, slow sort of escalation until about maybe 2 years ago. And then it just started really ramping up like ridiculously, like many millions more per month. Every month, millions more. And it just started getting scary.
We always referred to, like, when I'll talk to other people about it too, about your model of, because I feel like it's definitely one of like your ideas. Just hit them with content. In other words, just put stuff out there all the time. Because that's like every week. I mean, I'll just be on Instagram and I'll see you're like this. You had a physicist on, then you have a comedian on, then you have a fucking hunter on, and you're just like, well, I'm just putting stuff out there, and then whatever you want, consume it. You know.
But it's also, honestly, it's selfish because these are all just people that I want to talk to.
Yeah.
So like if I had Lawrence Krauss in the studio, who's a theoretical physicist, I have questions. I want to ask him about the birth of the universe.
Yeah.
What he thinks the boundaries of infinity are, and all these different fascinating people. So I have these one-on-one conversations with no interruptions for 3 hours with someone who you would never get a chance to do that in real life. Because if you were at a dinner table with them, they would get up to go to the bathroom, they'd check their phone, other people would chime in, someone else would come over.
But this is your own conversation.
It's just you and them alone in a room just staring at each other, and you get an education through that. Like I've become a much better conversationalist. I think I understand people better. I understand motives better. I understand interaction better. I understand ego. I understand all kinds of weird stuff you pick up. It's like data chunking. You just sort of recognize patterns in people, and you start applying them. I just have a much better understanding of myself and of people, and of being a good conversationalist.
Yeah, you're definitely highly skilled at it now. I mean, not that you weren't before, but I mean, I think it's obvious. Like it's a skill you develop because you work on it all the time.
Well, it's crazy because I never thought it was a skill.
Yeah.
Before I started doing podcasts, I would never thought being a conversationalist is a skill.
Yeah.
I would have thought, you just talk to people,
I notice it more, like, as somebody that does podcasts a lot, when I watch, especially. If I watch a television interview, I can tell, or I listen on the radio, I can hear that, this host is a giver, like a gracious host. He's letting his subject, say what he has to say. And then I can also feel like, the host is trying to dominate. You pick up on it. You're like, he's making it about himself all the time.
That is an issue with people.
Yeah.
Like sometimes someone will interrupt a really good story and take a sidetrack where they talk about themselves, like they have an opportunity to talk about themselves, but you're in the middle of a story.
Oh, Brian.
And you've done this. Yeah. And it just becomes a real problem.
Yeah.
A lack of awareness and a clumsiness can really sabotage and throw a monkey wrench into the gears of a conversation.
Yeah.
And it makes it real awkward because the other person's aware of it and they're trying to be gracious and get through it. And then, when someone else is talking, when two people are having a conversation and someone else is just kind of like clunky, like it affects the way you're able to communicate. So like as a host of a podcast, when you're having a conversation with someone, part of the skill of it is like trying to figure out how to get that person the most comfortable and the most relaxed, and then the most like ask the questions with enough economy of words to get them to express themselves the cleanest.
Right. That's why I don't like participating in or listening to podcasts with too many words.
No.
Yeah, I've done them. They get rough.
Yeah,
they get rough.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And usually what happens is, at least for me as a listener of one of them, I'll be like, every interesting point that I was looking for, like I can hear coming, gets derailed. Yeah. I'm like taking them as well.
Gives me anxiety even watching CNN sometimes. They'll do a split and there's like 6 people on there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just want to hear one person do it. I don't want to hear all this. Makes me nervous.
It's too much.
Reminds me of
CNN does like 9 sometimes.
It's too much.
Too many experts.
And they're all just like trying to get their sound bites in. It's so obvious. I was watching something on Trump the other day. It was just fucking gross.
What do you think of this whole current state of things with Trump?
It's what happens when you get a guy who does not understand what being president is and is used to running businesses, and then all of a sudden you let him run the presidency and he's trying to run it like a business.
Yeah.
He's firing people that he doesn't agree with. Like, I didn't know that the president could just fire the FBI chief like that.
Yeah, I didn't know it either, but
like when he fired Comey, and it's like the guy's he's a real pain in my ass with this investigation. Like, what? Like, it's so obviously obstruction of justice.
I think he has like
obviously
really wide-ranging liberties when it comes to hiring and firing as
It's
president.
amazing.
Yeah,
And we didn't know about that.
I know until this happened. Yeah.
Well, because most people have the good sense not to do things like that because it looks bad. It looks suspicious.
People forget, though, that Clinton did the same thing. Clinton fired the head of the FBI as well. And he fired him in the middle of an investigation. I forget what the investigation was. I forget what the circumstances were, but it wasn't as egregious, but it was pretty similar.
But this feels like, I mean, at least from the outside, it does feel like, every day it feels like this is heating up into some like major scandal. Who knows? Because evidence-wise, I know it's always pointed out that we don't have any, smoking gun yet, but it does feel like it's cooking up into something, you know.
I don't know. I think everybody wants it to.
That has that sense too.
It's either, here's a question, like, what's inappropriate and what's illegal? And I think a lot of it's been inappropriate, but how much of it is illegal?
True.
Like Sam Harris has a podcast where he had these political experts on talking about what Trump did when he had those Russians over the White House, and he gave them top secret classified information about ISIS wanting to use laptops to blow planes up.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you know, when you do that, you've compromised all these people that were embedded in ISIS, that were telling the government about this plan that they have. Sure. Now they have to get these people out and hope these people don't get assassinated. Like, you can't, like, in him thinking that he's sharing information, like, you know, I'll let you know a secret.
Yeah.
Like, what you're doing is you're exposing sources.
And you know it's obvious too that like he's the type of guy that loves having that share a secret moment. Like, I'm sure he was like, yeah, I'll tell you something.
Well, that's the whole thing with Comey. Like, you know, like he wanted to hug him.
Yeah.
And he wanted to say, look, I hope you can let this go.
Yeah.
Like, he's like telling someone to let go a criminal investigation into being compromised by Russia. And apparently they were warned that Flynn guy was compromised by Russia before he even got into office.
He was warned by the Obama administration, and then when Yates came over, the deputy attorney general and warned Trump's lawyer about it, they still didn't act for another week or two.
She was a gangster at those fucking hearings.
Yeah, she was.
She was so good because they were trying to chip away at it. Yeah, and she was like, "Look, what I'm
schooling them.
Yeah, schooling them on the Constitution, schooling them on law, schooling them on ethics, and about her responsibility to the American people. It's like, no, I'm not going to institute a travel ban on Muslims. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah,
like, you can't do that. This is a country of immigrants. You want me to institute a travel ban?
It's so upsetting to me.
Yeah.
You know what he's like? He's like a murderer, and you know, and they all get caught because they brag about shit. Like, he couldn't help himself talking about ISIS, probably. Like, I got something good. I got to share it.
Yeah.
I got to brag about the shit.
I love all the reports about how they go, it's really difficult because of his short attention span. And he has a tendency to be easily distracted.
And he likes visual aids too.
Oh, good.
If you talk about something, you have to show pictures to him.
Oh my God.
He wakes up and winds down with cable news, and he brags that I don't read. He's like, I don't like reading.
Not a Rita.
You know, another thing's hilarious. Let's talk about the shows that he watches. They're number one because everyone knows I'm watching.
Oh, right.
Like him saying that everyone knows that he's watching these Fox News shows.
Oh boy.
It's hilarious that he believes that that's why they're number one. But we've never had a president like. Imagine if Obama did that. If Obama said, "Well, the reason why this show is number one is because I watch it, and everyone knows that I'm amazing."
Yeah.
What? Everyone loves Obama.
Yeah.
He loves Obama, so I love him.
Always in the third row.
Yeah. Like he was talking about Kanye. Kanye loves Trump. He loves Trump.
Yeah.
You know,
everyone loves Trump.
The fact that he talks about himself like he's fucking Roy Jones Jr. Like when Roy Jones is in his prime, and Roy Jones is doing, he's the baddest motherfucker on the planet. He was talking about it in his prime. It was a way to establish that he was, I mean, it's a psychological thing.
Yeah.
It's like when Roy Jones Jr. gets out there, Roy Jones Jr. gonna take care of business.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's like, okay.
Yeah. It was like a separate power almost, right?
Yeah.
He was like talking about other aspects of that thing.
Yeah, he was talking about like this superhuman force that was Roy Jones Jr.
Man, when Tom gets on stage, it's just damn.
When Tom Segura rocks the house, Tom Segura rocks the motherfucking house.
I wonder how many presidents in the past were this psychotic, but because of Twitter, maybe it's because of things like Twitter that we now see inside. I mean, what if Nixon was just batshit crazy too, but because of the limited access
You ever
to
seen
social...
that HBO Nixon tapes? That's great. But they play the actual tapes.
No,
It's really great.
Well, he had a drunken moment it's a famous drunken moment with a reporter where he was talking about how he has the power to just go into a room and make the decision to kill 6 million people with a nuclear bomb. And that, you know, that hangs over him.
Yeah.
And apparently he was intoxicated when he was talking about this nuclear option power. That's another very terrifying thing about the president.
I know.
The president really does have legitimate power to wipe out, to use nukes. I mean, he has a lot more power than we thought they did because there was so much restraint showed by Clinton and even by Bush, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like Bush is even criticized the Trump administration, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
Bush. I mean, Bush seems like a liberal daisy compared to.
So reasonable.
It's like Einstein compared to fucking
Well, the
Trump.
Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court ruled against one of Trump's things, and Trump's like, I'll see you in court. You know, whereas,
Yes,
like,
yeah.
hey, dude, that was court.
Yeah, yeah, that was great. That was the best.
Supreme Court,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But like Bush, they showed this clip of Bush losing a similar ruling to the Supreme Court, and his reaction to it was so reasonable.
Yeah.
He was like, well, we have to respect the court and the court's decision, and this is just the way it is. And although I'm disappointed, I understand that they're doing their best, and like
A big part of it, I do think you're right, though, is the lack of Twitter restraint. Because nobody would ever act like that. I know they had there was an article that said they had an intervention last week, and they're like, you're making it harder for yourself, and they were like, and they showed him with visual aids, like when you tweeted this, and then this was the pushback, and these were the articles written afterwards. Like, you gotta fucking stop doing this. So I don't know.
It's hilarious.
It is. I mean, who knows?
It's good in that we need to know that this is a stupid fucking position that no one should really have.
Right.
No one should really have the ability to just be the top chimp over 300 plus million people. It's crazy that you give anybody that power. There's no reason to.
Unless you raise a philosopher king.
Even a philosopher king is subject to the. I mean, if he has an ego and if he's a human being, he has the same possibility of going out of their fucking minds. It's just too much. Why risk it? It's just there should be way more checks and balances in place.
Yeah, we have to be nutty to even want to be president.
Of course.
It's an absurd job.
They're all megalomaniacs.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
no way.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep at night.
Who knows could be next? Maybe Glenn Moon?
I, Glenn Moon, officially announced my candidacy Armed Forces Commander-in-Chief, Office President, United States of America. If elected, I will serve Holy Will of God in name Jesus Christ through power Holy Spirit from God in name Jesus Christ. Vote Moon, USA President 2012, November.
Okay.
Oh, he didn't make it, huh?
I don't even know it. But I don't know if he's going to come back.
Name female person, self-described 18-year-old, former student, Franklin or Churchill High School. I met earlier this year, 2011, Library, Livonia. If anyone knows Amy, whom I last saw entering her friend's house on 6 Mile Road, Service Drive, west of Farmington Road, after I drove her there in my motor vehicle from Library, I would appreciate you giving her my Facebook address, URL. I could use some help securing 18 to 20-year-old vote.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and he's doing the silent cross while he's talking.
But that helps.
He could be president. There's some room out there. What do you do with those? Shoot them in the head or let them live?
I think you got to let them live until they show up at the office. Yeah.
We have to keep them in containment systems, though. That's a problem. Reagan let them loose, and we need to
reel them in a little bit.
Yeah, there needs to be a park.
Yeah, what did Reagan do? He lowered their bar, right?
He deinstitutionalized the mentally ill. So we unleash them on the streets.
Isn't it crazy? Because he's the guy who got shot by a mentally ill person.
Yeah.
He's out now.
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
He's out now.
He has it's like some type of he's out, but he has like supervised. He has to go, I think, to it's his mother's house or something. But he's not in a prison.
Yeah.
So weird. How old is he, though?
He's probably in his 60s right now.
Yeah, he can still kill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. It's a bad job, and it's not a smart job. It was a job that made sense back when we were dealing with kings, and we said, well, let's have an elected representative instead of a king. So it was a superior alternative. And then we had all these checks and balances, like representative government, having senators and congressmen and all these different people. They were there to make decisions for the individual states, and the individual states could have their own laws and regulations. And it was a fairly good system for the time. But when you deal with electronic media and our ability to gather information instantaneously, like and communicate information, like there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to vote online. None. We should all be able to vote online.
At the very
registration should be super easy.
At the very least, all these I didn't know, but all these European countries do weekend voting for national elections, and it ups their turnout like 50-60%.
Yeah, that's a great idea as well. There's a lot of different
Saturday
ways.
election.
See, they don't want that though.
Right.
They literally don't want any more participation because, first of all, one of the things that you're seeing with Trump that's really disturbing is you're seeing the rise of the asshole class.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of assholes out there that were never represented, and they don't necessarily agree with his politics, but they have like an identity thing there. It's more like they're in a group of like-minded people than it is even that it's like a political party. It's like a cult.
It's a douchebag cult. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I see them on TV all the time.
It's legit. Like, there's a lot of people that are enjoying this because they're on a team.
Yeah.
And it's like whether they're rooting for the fucking Dolphins or they're rooting for Trump. It's kind of the same thing. They identify with a clan. Right. And this clan of people are Trump supporters, right-wingers, whatever they're doing. But they just happen to be Trump supporters and right-wingers. They could be anything else. It's just people love to be in a support group of like-minded
That's
folks.
true.
Yeah. People that agree to a certain thing.
I don't think they also, like, I noticed during the campaign, it seemed like it was a lot more just fuck the other team, like that kind of thing. It wasn't like about, like, he makes sense on these points. It was just like, fuck you guys.
Could you imagine if Hillary got into office and was doing all the same things that Trump has done as far as like giving away classified information to Russia, compromising sources, firing the head of the FBI because he was investigating her, the lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. Oh, that was like a big chant during the campaign, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, he's done shit way worse.
Yeah.
Way worse, man. Way worse.
Yeah. Chick just got way worse.
What's that from?
That's from,
oh no, the gypsies.
The gypsies, yeah.
They're total white trash people, and she's fighting with some other woman. She's like, okay, shit just got way worse. You know.
You know what else is interesting? That I was listening to the Sam Harris podcast that was talking about.
I like him. The books are good.
The real interesting issue is the ebb and flow of support, and that if the pro-Trump media unitedly turned on him, because there was some speculation that they were upset that Trump was doing some things, some intervention things in foreign countries and meddling in other affairs that they didn't want. They wanted more of a separatist sort of like the United States can take care of itself and fuck all those other countries. But when we started bombing Syria, we dropped a Moab bomb and all this different stuff, there's a lot of people that expressed some some discontent. Like, this is not what we wanted.
It's not what we signed up for.
Right.
Yeah.
If it turns and they united as a united front, turn on Trump, the very people that support him, which by the way could absolutely happen. When you're a guy who like mobilizes those armies of assholes, they're subject to turn, especially if you're clearly an asshole yourself.
Sure.
And if he does enough asshole-ish things, and then one day they just decide to turn on him, they were talking about this, like this could be catastrophic for his campaign. Like it literally could. The very people that put him in office, this same group, if they have someone who represents them better, whether it's a Ron Paul or someone else, someone who they can get with philosophically, but they don't think like, for whatever reason, they just decide they don't like him anymore.
Yeah.
Which can easily happen.
Totally.
Well, it can happen too because I don't think Trump really believes all the crap that he was saying that he was behind. Like, do you really think he's anti-abortion? Like, how many abortions has that motherfucker probably paid for himself? You know what I mean? Like, he's not about all the stuff that. Do you really believe that? I think he's.
I think no. I
no
just,
way.
He's a great. You have to give him credit for being the super talented self-promoter.
Right.
He's super talented
galvanizing
at
them
selling things in the moment. Yeah, I don't think he believes all that.
Believe in all
I know that he definitely lost at least a segment of people this past week with having his first foreign trip to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of people that were. I mean, I'm talking about like very, very hardcore. Far right people that were upset that like, what are you doing going there on your first foreign trip? You should be having them pay us back for 9/11. You should, why are you basically mingling with them, negotiating an arms deal? I mean, it's just there's going to be things that pop up every week that people will get upset about.
Have you seen a picture of Trump and that Saudi Arabian guy and some other dude holding onto that glowing?
Yeah, so creepy.
What is that glowing?
I don't know.
What is that?
I don't know. It's like a global. It's a
long globe.
Yeah, and it's like showing. It's funny too because he was like the anti-globalist campaign guy. Right?
Yeah.
It was like America First, nationalism, and then now it's like it's a global. It's all about the whole world.
What is it with these people once they get into office? Even Obama. Once he got into office, like became kind of a different person.
I think, well, especially like when you're in that first term, I think everything just shifts. Like, I gotta get that second term. That's all they care about.
I mean, that's it.
I think that's a big part of it because they especially like the one thing I will say I think I noticed with Trump is I think at the end of the day I don't think he cares about anything other than winning. Winning the campaigns, winning votes, winning. For him, I think he's a highly, highly, highly competitive guy. And to him, it's just like, everything is about, it's a victory. Whether it's this executive order signed, this is like a victory. When the healthcare thing went down, that was considered a loss. I think that was destructive to his whole psyche. And I think all he wants is to win again, have another shot at the presidency again, only because it means he won, not because he really cares about being president. I think he just wants to win, man.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
I'm enjoying the campaign, like the coverage of Melania hating him. Like they're claiming stuff like he tries to hold her hand and she swats it away and shit like that.
Really?
I enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff they reach obviously for anything, right? Like if you're that's the thing is like the level of scrutiny on everything. It's like they were holding hands and then they let go and they're like she swatted his hand away. Like they want to.
There's a great animated GIF though, where he looks over at her and she's smiling, and then he turns away and she goes,
yeah.
She's like instant.
That's at the inauguration.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's weird.
It is weird.
What do you think that's all from?
It reads so clearly too. It's like you can say a lot of these things are but that seems so much because she's like. And then
well, that seems legit, and also the fact that she doesn't live there.
Yeah.
Well, fuck. Would you want to? She just, that's not what she signed up for. You know
what did she sign up for?
She signed up for some DJs and some Skrilla. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Some Fendi bags and stuff. That's what's up. Right. That's right. Drinking your teaspoon a day and then.
How much dick can you suck?
Right.
I mean, think about it. It's a great gig.
Yeah.
Because he's probably only horny a couple days a week.
He's old.
Yeah, 75 or something like that.
Yeah.
You can only probably get it up a few days, even with Viagra.
Yeah.
He probably only wants pussy a few days a week.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the days a week, she's driving Rolls Royces.
Shopping in New York, yeah. Living a good life.
Trump.
So she's right here, right? And like, so he's going to turn back. Smile, big smile. Yeah. A big smile.
But you forget she's my tribe. This is actually the coldness of the Eastern Blocker as well.
Yeah.
Like my stepmother had a little of that. A lot, yeah.
Yeah. So do you think
Very
that
strange.
it's also like part of the reason why she accepted this position in life in the first place? It's like there's like a pragmatism, like a cold pragmatism. Like this is a good move.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, she was a hot chick, right? She's like a model.
for sure.
So that's what you got to do. It's you can't model forever.
Pictures of her in a lesbian sort of photo shoot type thing.
I know there's some nude modeling, yeah. She did some nude modeling.
Good looking lady, yeah. There's nudie pics of our first lady. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It'd be crazy if there was like butthole pics, if she like could spread them shots.
Yeah, with like a string of spit leading to her fingers.
And we're back to your mom's
Yeah.
house. Whew, I got serious for a minute, but we got back to the important stuff quick.
Oh yeah.
We're living into one of the weirdest times ever in human history.
Yes.
There is.
Yeah.
Because it's total uncharted territory.
Yeah.
What was that?
Glassing.
Just glassing. Dude, that's become, in the hunting community, that's become a giant punchline. It is all over. Like I sent you that
Meat eater?
Meat eater?
Yeah.
They said, we're going to beat you guys to the punchline.
Yeah, and they
just
send
say, just
pictures out and
glassing.
just glassing, yeah.
It's a beautiful photo. They're overlooking this incredible landscape. Everybody just say, just glassing.
Do you know that, like, when that Daphne
So funny.
came, we have all these, like, little inside jokes. That one went, like,
Bananas.
so crazy.
Haywire.
It went haywire.
Do you know that people brought binoculars to my shows in New York?
Look at the meadow. This is why we came up here. We've been slipping along this big, huge meadow.
That's a beautiful
big,
meadow.
long, tall meadow. We've been slipping along here, just glassing. And all of a sudden, I didn't even put my headnet on.
He's so fired up.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And this also opened up a whole new world for us, which was the excitement of a dad boner. Like when a dad gets really excited about something.
Dad enthusiasm.
Yeah,
It's not
dad
like any other
enthusiasm.
kind.
different
kind of enthusiasm.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
well,
it's
because
dad enthusiasm.
it's usually for something that nobody would get that excited about, except for that.
Well, you know, he's a very famous bow
Fred
hunter.
Eichler,
We
right?
figured that out before email. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm smoking Fred. And
Didn't I tell you? I told you too.
I don't remember.
I watch him on TV.
Oh yeah, you did say
I watch his show.
Yeah.
And he glasses the whole.
That guy's killed everything in the world with a compact.
I read it. We read about him after. Yeah, he's like killed the animal kingdom.
Yeah, he's killed Noah's Ark with a recurve bow. A recurve bow is like a traditional old school bow.
It's like legit. This dude was
oh yeah, he's one of the best bow hunters in the world. He's recognized.
Yeah.
So does he know about this?
I don't know. I know we emailed him.
Yeah, we reached out.
I'm sure we reached out.
These guys probably upset.
So?
People are all swearing.
Yeah.
Oh, he's super nice.
Oh, remember
He must be, yeah.
He had that one. He had a video where he goes and he spanks a little cub bear. There was a little bear eating out of like a dumpster by his house, and he ran up and spanked it and was like, "Ow!" And I ran back, got all excited about it. Yeah, he's like way out in the wilderness. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I believe he lives in Colorado.
I think that's it. Yeah.
It's glass.
We have all these other. So we started to look for dads that get excited about things. You know, like that we consider him in that category. And like there's what foamers are? Foamers are people that get like
It's not dirty.
really into trains, and they like will wait at train stations for trains to drive by, and they fucking get really excited.
Why do they call them foamers?
I don't know.
New York once again on the SNC. Yeah, some train coming here southbound on North Creek.
They get really into it.
Wow, that's cool. Awesome. Well, that sounds. What?
What?
Oh my gosh. Oh my God, it sounds like an Alco. Oh, a 1943 S2. Oh, heritage equipment of the SNC. Wow, look at that. She's a beauty. Oh, it's a BL2. Oh, man. Yeah, SNC, heritage all the way. Wow.
So these guys just will wait for trains like hours just for a train. Yeah.
I'm so excited about that train.
Right?
So excited.
Don't you kind of envy this guy's ability to get super stoked on something so dumb?
No, that guy needs to find pussy.
Yeah, pushes so much
He
better.
would just abandon all those numbers.
Yeah.
That's our F45 629.
Here's the solar eclipse dad.
That's why they're dads. They're like benign.
Look at this. Oh my God, it's coming. The moon's shadow is coming. It is coming.
Oh, they're watching it from a plane?
Oh my God, here it comes. Look at this. I've never seen it like this. No flashes. Oh my God, here we go. Look at it. Oh my God. Whoa. Look at that. Oh my God. Here we go. Oh my God, it's coming right over. It's like a storm. Look at this. Oh my God, we're getting close. Getting close. Don't feel it. Oh my God, Corona. There it is. Diamond Belly's Bees. Belly's Bees Diamond Ring. Look at that. Corona. Totality. Oh my God. Look at that.
I mean, it's cool. But
It's super cool.
See, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Look at the prominences.
Well, maybe that's just me.
Prominences. Up the atmosphere. Oh, look at down there.
It's badass. It is.
Beating.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
Oh, that's a flare. Look at that diamond ring. Look at that. Oh my God.
But he does sound like he's gonna come with pants also.
I wonder if he took that flight specifically to see that.
Possibly.
You're right.
Because that guy seemed so into it. It was so much knowledge.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a casual trip.
I think by far the craziest one that we found, because we've been sent a lot of these things, is this fucking guy. I'm getting excited about something so goddamn mundane.
Trans-Canada Highway.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love this one.
I finally found the last section paved.
Okay. Okay. Well, here we are. Whew.
This guy doesn't
This
fuck.
is the Trans-Canada Highway, baby. And we are standing in beautiful, sunny British Columbia.
Come on.
At the kilometer marker, 7,128. And this is where I believe, with a 90%
no make that 95% chance that this is, in fact, the very place where the Trans-Canada paved its last section.
I mean, this is about a highway being completed, right?
Wow.
Canada has an asphalt belt, and this is the buckle.
And
it's a divided highway.
he goes running on it,
Oh, I'm winded.
and he like keeps going,
Oh,
basically.
the story that this road tells.
He's running on the highway right now.
I'm down the middle.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
What the fuck? Oh, this is a downhill section, fortunately.
This is so strange.
So
Right?
yeah, I mean,
I
it's,
like it. It makes me happy every time.
I mean, why does it make you happy?
Because I lack that enthusiasm for the road. Like, this guy's found a way to get pumped on something so benign.
See,
what
my
do you get
brain.
excited about?
I get excited about a lot of shit, but with this guy, I see that and I go, okay, I want to talk to that guy about normal life. Like, there's got to come a normal conversation where he falls apart.
Yeah.
Like, there's just some normal shit where you talk to this guy about, and he's got some weird disconnect, and, well, I don't like to talk about bathrooms.
Right, right. And this is where he's sublimating all that weirdness.
Yeah, he's finding.
That's a good point.
He's bottlenecking somewhere.
He is.
And you're right about the lack of sexual intercourse. There's no way this guy's or any of these
This
dads.
guy? Yeah.
But that's why they're dads. Cause,
Are you sure they're dads? That guy might be a loner.
Well, yeah, I think we're labeling dad.
Yeah, you calling them dads because they're older guys? but-
Yes, I'm assuming that they've shut it down, or their wives have shut it down. The wife has a very short haircut, and she's wearing culottes and sandals. You know what I mean? Like, they're just both shut down. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets sad.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Trans-Canada Highway. This is yours, Canada.
There would be something ironically hilarious if you heard bang, bang, and you just see this video is dedicated to all the men and the women who made this great highway possible. Thank you in all caps with exclamation points.
It's just,
whoa.
Those noises though were like,
That's so crazy.
It's crazy.
That's gangbang sounds.
Yeah. I mean, that's for a highway being completed. I almost feel like he's seen every stretch of it, right? Like, that's the thing. Maybe this is like the completion of 10 years of traveling this fucking highway and documenting the whole thing.
We like to think of the backstory. Yeah. Was he there for the construction? Was he part of it somehow?
I had a guy on my podcast, Chris Cage, who's walked the Appalachian Trail. You know what the Appalachian Trail is?
Yeah, it's all through Carolinas, right?
Yeah, you start in Georgia and it goes all the way to Maine. He walked it. It's like 6 months of walking.
Whoa.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was like a dream.
I don't know. He had it in his head and he wanted to do it.
How did he eat? Did he bring? How does the food work?
You bring food, you buy food along the way. You bring some food.
That's my only concern.
Now, you say you get excited. You're saying that I don't get excited.
Listen, I have an email from a listener I thought would be a nice time.
Okay.
Dear Mommy Tina, I completely understand your need for Tom to have enthusiasm, as my fiance is just as chill and unexcitable as Tom. There is nothing more agitating than being excited for something and only getting a smile from my man. That just proves that you are the personality champ. Personality is all about getting excited, having different moods, and responding accordingly to other people. Clearly, Tom doesn't have what it takes to be considered a champ. It's all you. P.S. I also get farted on and treated like a sister. We are definitely into weird territory. I feel like this only happens with couples who are on the same playing field. Lots of love, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah.
You made a huge mistake giving out your email address. Just want to say that. You're going to get more from Hannah now. Hannah's going to start crying.
For sure.
I caught him farting on my sister. Things are getting weird.
I can't believe you think I don't get excited about that.
You seldom, I mean, we discovered that Tom gets excited about football, but I mean, seldom is there a big, I mean, you've known him for years too. And
It's exciting when he goes to shows and he does a great show.
I do. I get excited.
how do you express your enthusiasm for a
I'll be like,
good show?
great fucking show.
Yeah, you can tell. He gets pumped.
Yeah, I do. I get a rush.
What does pumped look like from Tom Jones?
I like cars. I get excited by cars.
He does get excited by
I saw one of his cars. And you should have seen
You
it. I was
do
like,
that,
He had
yeah.
a video camera on me. I was like, I was glowing at the thing. I like cars. I buy car magazines and like
Yeah.
kids.
That's true. Okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the Corvette, right? I have a Corvette. Yeah.
So cool.
You do
I was like
like
a little
that.
kid. Yeah. I do
Okay.
like it.
So there you go.
You farted this morning horrendously. This morning. No, was it last night?
Probably both.
Yeah.
Did you get excited about that too, or you changed it?
Well, no.
I was.
We made sweet marital relations, and then afterwards we were, whatever, laying around. And he goes, you're lucky. I go, why? He goes, well, I held in a fart for you that whole time.
Yeah.
And I go, wow, what a lucky gal I am.
I feel like I should get credit for that. I feel like some guys would have let that go, and I was like, nope, like don't do that right now.
Oh, how
'Cause
sweet.
Yeah, I had just settled in, and I was like, don't let this go right now. Yeah, see, you can appreciate it. It's nice.
Would your
I get excited.
Yeah.
Talking about this with you guys.
would your wife be? Would she consider it nice too that you hold? Do you hold them in, or do you?
Yeah,
let 'em
I
fly?
try my best.
Yeah.
And if I do accidentally let one go, I'd let everybody know. Get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Yeah.
Everybody clear out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you got ladies around. You got little girls, right? So yeah,
A house filled with girls.
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Being a gentleman.
I got the opposite. It's all dicks all day.
Dicks and farts.
Dicks and balls and farts.
But in the same, don't you think that you get material out of that? That's probably a blessing for you.
It's a blessing in disguise, and I'm used to it. I'm more male energy.
Wait,
I'm not good with
We
girl
haven't
stuff
done
anymore.
this during the show. You need to do this.
What?
Christina.
My big announcement.
This means there's a big announcement coming.
Major. I'm so excited.
What's that sound?
That's
Chips in a bowl.
chips being poured into a bowl. That means there's a big news coming.
Oh.
That's a sound cue. You know how like morning shows will have like air horns or whatever?
Yes.
We have chips in a bowl.
Chips in a bowl.
What kind of chips are those?
I think they're potato chips being poured into.
It's
a
so
bowl.
loud. It sounds like
Yeah.
I thought it was gambling chips.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's interesting.
No, I never thought of that.
Well, I think
But I don't think
it's
there's a distinction made.
It's so clinky.
It is.
Yeah, I think they're the thin Lay's kind. That's the kind I see when I
Maybe
hear
Ruffles?
it. Yeah.
Could be. Yep.
Anyways, big news. I'm finally shooting my hour special.
Oh. When are you shooting it?
All right, here it is. The announcement. I can finally make it June 24th at the Showbox Theater in Seattle.
Nice.
Tickets are on thousandranch.com. The link is up. It is active, so you can get those tickets now. Please, mommies, let's pack it out so I can have a great taping. There's 2 shows, 7 and 9:30. Bang, bang.
In the great city of Seattle.
In the great city of Meat Rattle. I can't wait to go there with so many mommies there.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm very happy for you. I'm very
Thanks.
excited.
Seattle's on the short list of places I would live outside of LA.
Yes, same as me. I like that
I would
very.
live there.
It's
I
not
would
LA.
get through the winter. I'd just go to Hawaii a couple times or something to get through that fucking rainy bullshit.
Yeah.
They have to deal with. But once you get through that, I think intellectually, I think it's one of the best cities. Like people, they're not as pretentious, but they're smart. There's no showbiz influence, which
Yeah.
I think is one of the things that fucks us up here.
Yeah.
Is the desire for fame. Like there's a total absence of that up there. You see way less fake.
Yep.
Fake tits, fake lips, fake asses.
Yeah, people look like
Way less
people.
of that. They look like people.
It's a really cool city. I didn't realize, sometimes you just see like one thing in a theater, and so you don't know if you've been there before. I did the more, and I didn't realize until afterwards when I went to the lobby that I'd been there with you, because the lobby stood out to me. I didn't realize it.
Where
I've
is
been here
that
before in Seattle. I did it a couple of weeks ago, and as we were in there, they're like, "You've been here before?" I was like, "No, I've been here before." And then we got to the lobby, and I was like, "I have been here before." So I remember doing like a meet and greet with you.
Yeah, we've done so many places, dude.
I forget.
We forget them all.
Yeah.
They blend in.
But
know?
Seattle, I mean, every time I've gone there, I've had some of the most fun
it's
shows
the
I've ever
best.
had.
Yeah.
That's why I chose that city. I mean, LA is obviously my heart.
Yeah.
Real dough.
Yeah.
But you
Real
said
dough.
the showbiz element, that is the problem.
It's the problem.
Yeah.
Not just the showbiz element, but the problem you were talking about with the Instagram kids and the Kardashians. They're not necessarily even showbiz. They're like the attention industry.
It's the attention industry.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
there's so much fake bullshit and so much like flossy nonsense.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Seattle is base is Microsoft and Amazon, and there's a lot of tech money there and a lot of really smart people.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's also super green. And I feel like being next to the ocean and super green, like seeing a lot of green and mountains. And there's something about that's just better for you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think so too.
Good for your brain.
And this is a very like kind of showy town, you know, that we live in. It's like a very like show-off thing. I think one of the funny things is like the idea, like that you think you have money in this town, like people who are trying to come across that way. And then you go to a town like Seattle, where like, no, those 22 people are billionaires.
Yeah.
And they're not even trying to show you that.
Yeah, they're wearing like a sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
jeans
I like
and-
that.
Bill Gates dresses like a fucking librarian.
Yeah,
He's got like $80 billion.
Yeah, it's odd, right? Like,
It is odd.
What are you doing with all that money?
Yeah.
But he does a lot of humanitarian stuff.
Tons of it. That's
Yeah.
incredible what he's done. And he got a lot of other super wealthy people to donate their money. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Like they do the pledge.
Well, how about Warren Buffett? He's giving it all.
Yeah.
And that's through
awesome.
Gates. He's done it through Gates.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat. Like he's literally, when he dies, he will die and leave it all to charity.
Yeah. So and he's been giving a lot. Some of those guys, they've been giving billions as they're alive.
Yeah. Warren Buffett also lives in like the same house he bought like 30 years ago in Omaha, Nebraska. And it's a super normal house.
Yeah. He drove the same car for like 20 years.
Like, why have all that money though? I don't understand. Aren't you fucking flossing? He's not balling a little
At
bit.
his level, you should definitely be balling.
Slightly.
Now,
A little bit.
is he married to the same lady?
I think he's
must
divorced.
be.
He got divorced.
Oh.
Yeah, she got like 1.5 billion, which to him was like, why don't you like stop, lick.
Get out of here.
Nagging at me.
Yeah.
Take your little $1 billion.
Take
Get
it,
the
bitch.
fuck out of
I
my
got
house.
$80 billion.
Damn.
Yeah, he's still doing pretty well.
Now, Jew Dork Titties, that's a great city too.
Yeah.
I love
Jew dork titties.
New York City.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
what we
different
call it on the
spin
show.
Yeah.
That's a place that I would consider living. I would
Yeah.
consider living in New York City.
Not in the winter months.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me that much.
I think it's all about, one thing is like in LA after a while, even though compared to most of the country, lifestyle, cost of living is much higher, it's still significantly different than New York. And like I would only go there if I could definitely live at least pretty comfortably. You know what I mean? Like
You'd
it
have to be a
costs-
baller. You have to be a baller.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to struggle in New York.
Yeah,
It
my wife
sucks.
once, she's talked about moving there. That's like one place where she said she would go. Like, if you want to go there, I'll go there.
Really?
Yeah. I think she just thinks it's like a big glamorous shopping trip, though.
Yeah.
That's how she looks at it. Oh,
Could
we go
be.
shopping.
Yeah. Well, she's right to a
Yeah.
point. I mean, like there's incredible
But the
shopping
cold,
there.
I couldn't take the
Yeah, the cold's rough.
I don't like
but,
that shit.
you just dress warm. It's not that difficult.
Dude, you be doing like 8 spots a night. I know that you.
Yeah, maybe, but not. I don't like that many spots as much as I like longer spots.
Right.
I think longer spots, like 2 long spots, I take 2 1/2-hour spots over 8 15
Yeah,
minute
I
spots.
agree.
Yeah.
Because as far as like developing material, I
Yeah.
think it's really important to stretch out a little bit because you're creating you're composing something, you're putting something together, a peak in a valley, and
Yeah.
Diaz and I had a conversation about that yesterday. He was like, I got to go to more places where I could work an hour. He goes, because sometimes I'm home for like a month and I don't go on the road and I don't do an hour set, and then I got to go do an hour set.
True.
And I got to piece it all together. I'm like, that makes sense.
I don't like short spots, and especially if you're touring a lot, like I have been, and you're doing that long set every night.
Yeah.
I don't particularly get a thrill out of a 15-minute spot. It feels like I understand it's a totally different thing, and it becomes like a different skill set, but it doesn't even feel that rewarding because like the benefit is like doesn't feel like it lines up with what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're just getting cooking.
Yeah.
You're just getting started and the light goes on. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. But to me, I treat them as blocks. Like I have 4 15-minute blocks.
Yeah.
And so like if I'm doing a set tonight, I'll say, okay, well, I did this block last night. So tonight I'll do this block.
That's true.
And then one of the cool things about LA is that I can do 3 or 4 blocks a night. Like I'll do 1 set at the Improv, and I'll do 2 sets at the Comedy Store. I did 3 sets at the Comedy Store and 1 set at the Improv 2 Thursdays ago.
And you had like 12 different sets?
Yeah, well, no, one different, 2 the same, and 1 was Jeremiah Watkins fuck around.
Yeah. I'm doing that next month.
That's a great show.
Can't wait. I've never done it.
Oh, it's the best. People yell out a subject, and then you start riffing on the subject. It's the best.
So they just yell out like hats.
Yeah. Yep. And you start talking about it, and you come up with material and punchlines. You come up with taglines. You come up with you might have a section of something that you ran about that doesn't fit anything. And then one day you have a new bit, and then you go, oh, and then there's that thing that I did on stage that night, and then it slides right into there.
I'm a big believer in that it's not that hard, relatively speaking, to say something like a joke, come up with something funny. It's much more of a challenge to come up with an interesting topic or a premise.
Yes.
So that's what that show sounds exciting.
Yeah, I feel like
saying talk about this topic.
Yeah, premises are giant. Premises are giant, and a point of view is giant. And then from there, I feel like it's that's the scaffolding that you'll add jokes to. And you'll figure out a way to make it funny and figure out a way to just do it the right way. And for me, one of the things that I started doing really recently that really made a big difference is I'll have a bit, even if the bit's killing, and I know this bit's going well, it's developing well, I will, outside of stand-up, I'll sit in front of my computer and just write on that subject. Write on it in a completely different way. Like, say if I approach it from say you're talking about going on a boat. You approach it from this way, then I'll just approach it from a completely different way and just say, okay, well, this is already in the can. This one's done. All right, I've got it. So let me just try a new attack on it. And I've come up with so many different punchlines coming at it from a different angle, but forcing myself to sit in front of the computer.
Yeah.
And I use that program, Right Room. Have you ever showed you that program?
Where it blacks everything out.
Blacks everything out and gives you green font. So it's like the Matrix font.
Yeah.
And I just sit there, and I can't access email. I don't get notifications, nothing.
So when you write from a different angle, will you then in your bit do the chunk that works and then be like, well, what if somebody's, and then all of a sudden present the other angle?
Or sometimes it fits in. Sometimes I just find a way where it fits in. Yeah. But it's just creating more taglines, more punchlines.
So you have a new hour though, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
So how long did that take you? It didn't take you that long.
6 months.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Every day I'm hustling.
Yeah, you are though. But I've seen you actually. It's a good lesson, I think, for a lot of comics. Like you, it came out, and then you haven't showed at all on that. You just still work. I see you on posts all the time. That you just spot, working all the time.
Yeah, I do 5 or 6 nights a week. At least 4. Always at least 4.
Really?
Yeah. Like I worked last night. I take off tonight. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday night I got a hot date with the wife.
Nice.
And then I'll probably work Sunday too. And then I'll go at it again next week.
And you're doing, by the way, congrats on this tour, because I saw it's big time shit, man.
Crazy.
It's crazy. You're doing the theater at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Damn, homie.
It's almost sold out.
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Isn't that like 7,000 seats or something?
It's something crazy.
Something crazy.
Jesus,
Dallas
dude.
was nuts, man. Dallas was. I just did Dallas. It was the biggest place ever sold out. That was 6,000 seats.
Wow.
It was maniacal.
That's
like
crazy.
The energy that you get.
How do you like it? Because it's a total different thing from 1,500 or 2,000 seater.
It's different. It's a different thing. But the energy when you get 6,000 people laughing is crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's just like it's a roar. It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
But man, I really like creating stuff.
Yeah.
I really like putting together stand-up. And I really love the process of writing things down and going over my notes. I love the process of creating new material. I love the process of sitting in front of that laptop and staring at the screen. I love the whole process. I love the process of going on a run and recording a new idea that I have in my head, and then looking at the notes that I have on my phone, and then breaking those down on paper, and then sitting in front of the laptop, and then taking these ideas, smoking a joint, and going on stage with it and riffing with it. And then recording it and listening to the recording on the way home. It's like the whole process to me it's my favorite thing to do. It really is.
Me too.
I think it is the biggest thrill. I was talking to somebody about it, that I think the biggest thrill still of all things is coming up with something new and having it be, validated and rewarded. You're like, that's a bigger thrill than anything.
Yeah.
It really is. I thought of this thing, I said it, and this group of people reacting.
And then abandoning it.
Yeah, you have to.
After you record a special, like somebody yelled out, like, do the Kim Kardashian bit, the Bruce Jenner bit, rather.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't even know how to do it anymore. I literally don't know how to do it.
People don't understand that. Only comics understand that.
Yeah.
But you go, I've been doing this other thing for so long now that I don't even remember the beats of that.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to get, I started to do one, and I was like 30% through it, and I got only half the The audience yelled out the next line. I was like, well, there you go. You guys know.
Well, yeah, because even as I'm ramping up to tape it in a month, like, I have to sit down and really go through my notes and really remember every little
beat,
bump to it and bell and whistle, because you forget the cadence.
And you can get away without doing that, but make no mistake about it, the more attention you spend thinking about that material, the better it'll get.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And I have to get full focus. Like, I can't fuck around with anything. Like, it's laser until that date, and then...
You know what I know that's really kind of weird? I know guys that write on shows, and they'll write sitcom scripts, and they'll write movie scripts, and then they have like a chalkboard, they write, or a whiteboard, and they'll write on the whiteboard, and they'll have notes, they'll put like scenes, different scenes, but they don't ever do that about their own act. Right, and then their own act they treat like, you know, like a redheaded stepchild. They never really have that kind of professional focus, because you don't have to, because no one's telling you to. Right. But when it comes to like writing a show or writing a movie, you have to. You have to write that, because everyone's going over bit by bit. You have writers' meetings. You go to the writers' room. You sit down with people. There's no writers' room or writers' meetings for stand-up. Well, why isn't there? Like, why don't we? Because we're fucking lazy.
Well, it's discipline. It's self-discipline.
Yes.
And also, it's hard to look at yourself and look and step back and separate you from your work and go, that kind of sucked. Like, that can be better. I should do this there. You know what I love the most is knowing that I'm about to say some crazy shit. Like, when you're like, you take the risk, and then you're like, oh, I'm so scared. This could be really, I shouldn't say this. And then you say it. And you're like,
You get addicted to that feeling.
Yeah, I like that
feeling
part.
of like, I'm going to take a leap right here.
Yeah, this is scary.
And then, hopefully they'll come with me.
Because it's not just talking about airplanes and cats and dogs. You're like, I'm going to say some crazy shit.
Yeah, and then
the best part.
there is that the risk. The risk is what is that feeling of like, is this parachute
I did it.
open?
Did it. Yeah.
And then you don't think about it at the time, but the knowing that a bunch of people are getting babysitters, they're spending their money, they're coming out to see you, and this massive responsibility to incite a reaction in them with just your words and thoughts, and the amount of responsibility that's on you for that. It's pretty intense. I've paid more attention to it over the last year or so than I have like ever in my life. Yeah, I've ramped it up more. Yeah, I just think it's constantly, and then my standards always get higher too. It's like I can't have a new special that's not as good as the last one. So I feel like, man, I got to make sure this one's better. So I have to like watch my old one and go, well, where's there too much fluff, or where's there too much?
Oh, you did that, really?
Yeah. Like maybe I could have cut this down. Maybe this isn't as good as this part. You know, all that, just all sharpening the samurai sword, hammering that fucking metal down.
Yeah.
I know. My problem is I'm a perfectionist, so like, and it's never good enough. It's never going to be.
That's everybody's problem.
I hate it.
Everybody if anybody who's any good hates everything they do.
Yeah.
It's true. Gosh. Everybody I know that loves their act is terrible. Everybody that tells me, oh, my new stuff's amazing, I love it. Like, ugh, get away from me.
That's gross. I remember we did a show one time where that guy was like, he goes, don't you love going back and watching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some guy's like, don't you love watching yourself? I'm like,
he was terrible.
no.
He was terrible.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's always the case.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's always the case. And they're always like big self-promoters too. Right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Letterman hated himself. I read some book about him years ago, and every episode he would go home and just put on the hair shirt and flog himself. Like, that was the worst episode ever. And in my estimation, he's the best. I love Letterman so much. But he hated
That's
himself.
why he's the best, though.
Yeah.
Is because he had these high standards. He wasn't just half-assing it.
Yeah, it's true. I remember a guy one time asked me to get him a guest spot. And it's like I went to a city, and he was like, I knew him, I met him before. So I talked to the manager of the club, and I was like, can I get this guy a guest spot? And she was like, are you vouching for him? And I was like, yeah. So she was okay. So he goes up there and just eats such a big bag of shit. So then the club manager's like, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, wow, I don't know. So there's a second show, and I go, dude, that was like, he's like, I know. He's like, I'll do a totally different set. I'll on the set. It's a totally different set, and I'll make up for it. And I go, okay. So I go, let's just let him. He'll do a totally different set. That was just a set.
Oh no!
And then not only does he do the same set, he does verbatim like, from the same opening. And so she's looking at me like, what's going on? And I'm like, and I see him. I go, you did the same exact thing. And he was like, yeah.
What was his reasoning? Like, did he black out from nerves or something?
I think he got nervous. And the other thing that stood out is that he had, this is quite a few years ago, like amazing website and like all this other stuff had incredible attention, you know, like those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, they got the card. Like, remember when you started doing stand-up and, the card.
I bought you cards. I remember that.
So embarrassing.
Like cards that say your name and like comedian. Like I bought business.
Did you?
Cards. Yeah. Like,
every time I meet a guy in a town and he wants to do a guest set, I'm almost positive they suck.
Yeah.
They're always like real true. Say, hey man, I'd really love to do a guest set on your show. Like, what guest set? There's 6,000 people.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna do a guest set?
The audacity.
I know. Yeah.
I've had a bunch of guys do that though.
Yeah.
A bunch of guys do that. I've also had guys that are like marginal headliners and working comics just show up at my show and ask to do a guest set at like the Chicago Theater.
That's crazy.
And I'm not kidding. Yeah, 3,700 people.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd like to do a guest set. Hey, I'd like you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Are you
What do
crazy?
you tell them? What do you
I say no. I go, dude, this is all set up.
Yeah.
Like this guy's gonna do 20. Ian's gonna do 20. Tony Hinchcliffe's gonna do 20, and then I'm doing an hour and 10. Like this is what it is. This is the show. Like there's no room for your guest set. I'll just do like 7 minutes. No, you're not doing anything. I don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of. What if you go up on stage and you start doing my subjects?
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
I just got an email
It's a
about
theater, too.
about one for a theater show. Where they're like,
But here's the thing: would you ever do that?
never,
No.
never.
That's the thing. Like, imagine showing up at there's if you're a musician, there's a band playing. Like, hey man, I'd just like to go home and do a song with you.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
What the fuck
Get
out
out
of
of your
here.
fucking mind.
Well, the crazy thing about this email too, because I've had this a few times, is it's an email saying, "Hey, you're coming to this city. I'd love to do a set. Not only do you not know who I am, I will provide no link to anything so that you could check out. Like, in other words, it's just sight unseen. You don't know anything about me. Can I be on your show?"
Or
No.
and can I do like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
That's
the
the
best part.
best.
Like,
That's the
motherfucker, I
best.
don't even know you.
No.
I thought maybe like 5.
I had a guy show up in Atlanta and he wanted to do a half hour.
Hell no.
That's what he
said that?
Yeah, he said, "Do you want to do a half
Crazy.
hour?" He goes, "I want to do a guest set." He goes, "I'm only talking like 30 minutes, not like an hour."
I remember
What
one
are you
time,
talking
you know Dan
At least
Godfrey?
they got to hustle though,
I love Dan Godfrey. He used to run the Brea Improv, and now he like oversees, I think, all the improvs.
Yeah.
And one time I was in Brea, and I was, I want to say I was middling. This is like probably like 06 or something, and I was middling, and the MC was like, turned to him, was like, "I'll do 20." And then Dan goes, "You'll do 10, and you won't do a minute more." Like, just straight up. Because the guy was, like, announcing how much time he was going to do from the MC spot.
Get out.
on his-
20?
Yeah, he was like, "I'll do 20, and then how much do you do?" He was like, "You'll do 10, not a second more." Like, telling him, like, don't even fucking dream about doing that.
Yeah, and people get mad listening to this, inevitably.
Yeah.
I'll get an angry tweet or an angry Facebook message, and people will get mad thinking that, like, you just don't appreciate people that are trying to make it. No. And when you were trying to make
God.
it. Listen, I'm telling you, all the people that are out there listening that have that mindset, no one does that. No one who's any good does that. This is not what you do. You don't ever ask for guest spots. If you get to know someone and you start working with someone and you work with them on a regular basis and you want to work with them somewhere, that's one thing. Like, say if you were going to be in town doing a wedding or something like that, like you were a friend who was getting married or something like that, you're like, "Dude, you're working that night?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, you want to do a set?" You'd be like, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah.
And then we would work around it. We'd figure it out. But it's only because we've worked together so many times. We know each other so well. Like, to have someone who you don't even know want to interject. Like, your show is like a complete package. Like, you put it together, right?
Yeah.
You know who your opening acts are. You know what kind of material they do.
Totally.
And you're thinking about how this whole thing is going to play out together, and you want to make sure that audience who gets that babysitter and goes out, you want to make sure that they get the best set possible.
And I'm old school, I guess, in the sense that I am 100% of the idea that everything at any show is absolutely all about the headliner's desires and wants.
Yeah.
Or it's their show. Like, whenever I open for you, and like somebody would say like, hey, I'd be like, I don't know, ask him, man. It's his fucking show. Like, we're all here. It's called support for a reason. Like, we're supporting the headlining act. And I fucking hate when they try to involve anybody else in decision making or how do you want to. I go, it's all about whoever's name is on the market. Whatever they dictate is the way that show goes. And you should respect that. You should respect what it took for them to get to that point, and you should respect their desires at the show. So if you want to talk about lighting or music or how much time, it's all that person's decision. So everybody else can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, you know what I also find to be a problem that I don't do? I don't take guys in the road to do crowd work.
Oh boy, get your life.
It just opens up
Fucks
that
it all up.
Pandora's box. It becomes a real problem where when someone loves to do crowd work, and they, sir, what do you do for a living, sir? I'm looking at you with that suit on. I'm imagining salesman. And you know, the problem
Opening
is
that? Yeah, you can't do
people start losing, and they want to, I'm going to get my chance. He's going to talk to me.
Yeah.
And then they start gearing up, and then the time never comes, and then you're on stage, and they want to start yelling shit out. And you're like, oh.
It changes the expectations of the show.
Yes.
And somebody whose the show is not about them has made that decision.
Yeah.
That's what's fucked up about it. I've had that where like, holy shit, one guy did a 20-minute crowd work set in front of me.
Really?
And did like, I mean, this is a few years ago, we got worked into a frenzy. And then you get up there and some guy's like, and you're like, shut the fuck up, I'm not talking to you, man. And then
it's a problem.
It's
a problem. Yeah. It becomes a problem because then the audience is mad at you. How come
You just get to talk. I want to talk. I was waiting
It's about
to
me.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love it. They used to really mismatch my openers. Like, this is back in the day. I was opening Fort Lauderdale, and they gave me this guy who was like, ladies, you gotta suck a dick. That's why they call it a blow job, not a career or some shit. And it was like, all like, ladies, you gotta suck dicks. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, do you even know who I am?
No.
You don't give a shit.
They're not putting.
They don't care.
They're not considering it. as a show.
No, I mean, now that guy would never
You get a
even
spot, you get a spot.
be near me. But
Right,
I
he's
was
just
like,
a guy that the club found funny, and they go,
Yeah.
I've got an open week for a middle.
Yeah.
put in front of the female comic. It was
Plus at Fort Lauderdale.
Ay.
Is there,
closed it
other
down.
than Jim Brewer, is there a funny comic that's ever come out of Florida?
Is he out of Florida?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Is it
Actually,
Kreischer?
Yeah, Kreischer. He's, yeah. And then there's
Tosh.
Tosh from Florida, too. Damn it, there goes my theory.
Sorry.
Todd Barry.
Todd Barry's from Florida, too?
Oh,
Really?
no.
Wow.
But I know what you're saying in terms of like the fame. There's not a lot of
development there.
Yes.
They developed somewhere else. There's one other guy, too, that's really funny that came out of Florida. Brian Regan. Didn't Brian Regan come out of Florida?
You might be right. Yes, he's from Miami.
Yes,
that's
there
right.
you go. There you go. Yeah. So my theory sucks.
Yeah, but no, you're right.
But there's no bastion of comedic glory. Like Fort Lauderdale's not where we all go to get really good.
Well, there's no community.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, apparently there was developing one in Miami, because last time I was in Miami was a couple of years ago, and I did the, you know, they have that South Beach Comedy Festival.
That's right.
Yeah.
I went with you on
That's
that
right,
once.
yeah.
Right.
And we were, after the show, we were talking to some people at one of the local bars. They're like, yeah, we're local comics. We have, like, a comedy show here and a bar here, and, like, we put together, like, a real community. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't exist for a while. Miami was the worst improv in the history of
People don't
the fucking
No,
world.
they had to cancel my week. I got a call like a month before, and they're like, "Look, we can't sell tickets for a white girl. We're gonna have to pull your week." And I was like, "No problem."
A month before they knew, they're like, the
Guess so.
writing's on the wall.
No, one ticket for this white girl. Well, yeah, they didn't even speak English. It's crazy.
shows.
Joey Diaz used to do half Spanish shows there.
Wow.
Like he would yell out half the punchlines would be in Spanish, and people would fall out of their fucking chairs crying, laughing.
Yeah.
We did shows there, and they were just, it was Thunderdome. It was chaos.
It was. I did a set there where I would read in and out of Spanish too, and like
That's
say,
right. You speak full Spanish.
and I would, and it would be
crushing.
It pandemonium, like just it would be nuts. And I did one time middling, and the headliner did 35 minutes afterwards.
Oh my God,
Wow.
he was a dick.
He's like, out of here.
You almost have to be bilingual. to
Yeah,
get-
yeah, man. And they're
it's
like
a hard sell.
And that, like, if you were to ask that staff, like, are you going to police the room? They'd be like, what
What the fuck is that?
No, dude.
And everyone was 18.
Yeah.
The audience was all underage, and they gave away tickets. It was a whole papered room.
They told me a story about how that was in Coconut Grove, and there's some bad parts near in that area. Like they would also tell you like, don't walk down the street from the club. And you're like, okay,
right.
And so this one, there's like this Haitian gang. I forget the name of it, but anyways, dominant in that area. So one time, some guy, I don't know, was getting loud or something. So they go to one of the guys is like, hey, could you keep it down? And then when he comes back a second time, the guy opens his jacket and shows him he's got a gun, right, in his waistband. So the guy's like, I'm not getting killed over the goddamn improv, So he goes, tells the manager. The manager knows that the head honcho of that gang is a big fan of shows, goes to shows there. So, and he's in the room. So they go tell the gang leader that, like, hey, this other guy just flashed a gun to one of my staff. And that guy just turned in the middle of the show to the guy who showed the gun and was like, hey, no. And so he got up, went out to his car, put his gun in his car, came back, was like, sorry about that. And they're like, all right. Oh my.
Sorry about
But like, there's no involving anyone else and no throwing him out. They're just like, be a decent guy, put your gun in your car.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That room was chaos.
It was.
One
I've done
time.
it. No, I did it. Sorry. I've done it. Yes, go ahead.
It was one of the first clubs that I said I'd never go back to.
Yeah.
I told them on stage, I go, you are the dumbest fucking people I've ever performed for. And they were howling, laughing. I go, you don't understand, I'm so serious. And they were like, this fool crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not coming back.
Yeah. I remember Diaz having some choice words about it, too.
Even Diaz.
Exactly.
Even Diaz is like, that's too fucking crazy. It's too fucking crazy down there.
Well, Fort Lauderdale was a close second. I'd say Miami was number one.
You know, Fort Lauderdale, the Hollywood Improv?
Yeah.
I always had a good time there.
The Seminole.
Yeah.
That was, for me, I mean, that's when I was like coming up, whatever. Yeah, that was hard.
It was
like
chaotic.
the Bluetooth, everyone the Bluetooth.
Oh, those Bluetooth pieces. Remember those guys?
Like, you talking to?
And they don't talk during your set. They
Those
go
things
full-
stopped. They ended.
Yeah, thank God.
Isn't that weird?
You know of Ryan Sickler's story about that? No. He had he needed a tape for something. And so Ryan Sickler is one of my good friends, very funny comic. Set up, you know what it's like when you're taping a set for something. You want everything to come together.
Right.
So he sets up a camera in the back of the Hollywood Improv and records his own set. And he's up there having a great set, killing. Leaves stage like, I got my set to submit to whatever thing he's sending it is, a common set or something. So he's just happy. He gets back to review it, and a guy sitting next to the camera, the tripod with the camera, as Ryan gets on stage, is like, hello? Huh? Comedy club. Comedy, I'm at a comedy club. And throughout Ryan's set, you just hear the guy on his phone call keep saying over and over, comedy club. I'm at a comedy club. So that's what Ryan has a tape of. It's just a guy yelling, I'm at a comedy club.
Oh, no.
You know. Yeah.
That was a crazy.
Bluetooth, man. That
Bluetooth, Cleveland in front.
though.
It did kind of dip
It's
down.
interesting. I don't see them anymore.
It was
Those
almost a
little
point
earpieces.
of it was like a floss. It was like showing, like you were
Yes.
telling people that you had one.
Yes.
It wasn't about I need to get calls all the time. It was like you see the blinking light, like I'm a businessman.
Balling.
You know, I remember the Cleveland Improv. It was just like a sea of Bluetooth earpieces. I'd be like, oh man, I gotta get the
That
fuck out of
one,
this
by
down.
the way, that one was rough.
Terrible.
Cleveland seems to have made a comeback, though.
Cleveland's doing, and I, you know,
The Improv?
I've had great shows in that city that I've but that club, Cleveland Improv, I definitely had some fucking really bad, crazy shows. I mean, there was a guy arrested during the show who he sent back because it says 1 pound chicken wings, and he goes, that wasn't a pound. And they were like, that's what it is, man. And he's like, take me to the kitchen and weigh them, because I know that's not a pound.
Oh my God.
And they have by the way, this is one of the clubs that there's a permanent police officer stationed in the lobby. And so they're like, no. He's like, well, I'm not paying for it. So they just get the cop and they go, hey, here's the deal. And the cop goes, look, thinking like this is, look, man, you're either paying for them or I'll take you to jail. And the guy just goes, there you go. Go ahead. So they arrest him.
Wow.
Over an order of chicken wings. So you didn't pay for it.
Wow.
Was this not a pimp? That was
Dude.
the Cleveland Improv.
You've had merch stolen off your table.
I had merch stolen at the Cleveland Improv.
Who stole your merch?
These people, like, they were like, we want a picture. And they, like, totally distracted me. And then when I looked down, I was, like, doing my own thing then. Like, you know, I have 20 of these. There's, like, 5 gone. But they just set me up for a picture, and then I turned back, and they were gone. Like,
wow. Did you know who the people were? Did you see them leave? Did you go after them?
I mean, it's like I turned, and I was like, hey, and I'm telling, like, the security guy, like, they just stole it. He was like, yes, sir. You know, like it wasn't like we're going to pursue this. You know.
No.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is, man. People steal shit.
You're in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Trying to sell CDs.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that was such a rough. The first night I ever did the Cleveland Improv, a John and a pimp. John, you know what I'm saying? The pimp. God damn it. The hooker and the John were getting in a fight right at the front row, and they got thrown out. Like,
Wait a minute. This dude took a hooker to a show?
Yes. I found out later. I didn't know at the time, and I was just starting my set. Here I am, my first time into just trying to survive, and I look, and they're getting ushered out. I'm like, what happened? Well, it was a hooker and the John. They were in a fight. And they got arrested. But yeah, I've had people vomit in my showroom on Cinco de Mayo in Kentucky.
At the Cleveland Improv once, like I was grinding through a rough set. And this guy, third goes, this guy's terrible, man. Like that, like fully loud. Like this guy's terrible. Like, what's up, man? And then some lady in the back goes, your mama should have swallowed that nut. No, meaning like,
this is in Cleveland?
Yeah, the Cleveland Improv.
Wow.
I was like, damn. I go, your dad should have stuck around to raise you. And then, like, I got pretty quick.
What did she say when you said that?
It was just, there was so much oohing and awing and swearing, and then she was removed. So, like, she was allowed to say her thing, I said my thing, and then there was a fuck, like fuck you, and then they actually served them out.
What happened after that? Did the show calm down or no?
Yeah, they let me, it was like as I'm winding into the closing bit of the set. So I was like, it was right before I shut it down anyway. Like I was about to close, and then, yeah, I mean, I remember I walked pretty fast off stage though, as I got out of there. But there were some rough sets in that room.
Yeah.
Cleveland's rough.
Yeah. But hilarities is pretty fucking different.
That's different.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. Different.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a beautiful room, and, like, you know, I mean, the Improv has great clubs, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that's, like, a rough room.
That was a different one.
Yeah, I was there recently with Fitzsimmons.
At Hilarities?
Yeah, I was there on, I flew in on Thursday night, I had a show there on Friday, and Fitzsimmons was there on Thursday, so I did a set on his show on Thursday. It was great. Oh, Fitzsimmons is great. He's hilarious. We started out like a week apart from each other.
Did you really?
Yeah, literally a week apart.
I just did his podcast a couple weeks ago. He's a natural, like, when we talk about the skill set of conversation.
Yeah.
He's really good at it.
Well, his dad was a big-time radio host.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Big time in New York, yeah.
Wow.
Greg and I did so many fucking gigs together. We used to steal each other's material.
What?
Really?
We had a deal because neither one of us we really shouldn't have been working. You know, we were only
This was like 20 years ago?
More.
Yeah,
like 89, 88.
Wait, how long have you been doing it?
Since 88. August 27th, 1988.
Wow.
And
so we're coming up on your anniversary.
Yeah. In 2018, it would be my 30th anniversary.
Wow.
Crazy.
I'm exactly half that.
Yeah. And anyway, so Greg and I would do gigs, like when we were a year in, and we'd get paid, to go on the road. And so we had like a deal, like you could do my material, I'll do your material.
That's a good idea.
Because we were really good friends.
Yeah.
So he's like, dude, your fucking material was killing in Connecticut.
And he's like serious. Like,
Yeah. I would tell him, that bit that you do, I did that in fucking Rhode Island.
Yeah, but it was like, it was parachutes for you guys.
Oh, yeah. We really shouldn't have been working.
Yeah.
We were doing comedy a fucking year. And if something went bad, it went bad.
Yeah.
Like I never recovered. I mean, you can have a shit joke and just bounce back from it.
Totally.
Now, if somebody stumbled through something, you can bounce back from it. Back then, there was no recovery.
I remember opening on a bad joke and just riding that bad wave for a long set.
Yeah.
Because you opened bad.
Yeah,
I didn't have a
fucked
way to
up.
put it back together.
Yeah, you come out stumbling. And you just never get your balance back.
Yeah. Now if you open bad, you're like,
Is there one place where you won't work, where you won't get booked? It's just like, I'm not going there.
Yes.
Like, where is it?
Cleveland Improv.
Still to this day.
Negative.
Yeah.
Like, unless
They
it had
cultivate a
some-
bad audience, right? That does happen.
Yeah. It's, you know what the problem is? It's same thing that happened what Miami did with their club is that they used to like announce that you can get free tickets here.
Yes.
So like I remember one time going there, working in Atlanta, and I was like, check out this line. This is awesome. It's gonna be great. And the guy goes, they're here for the free tickets. So like when you cultivate that this is free, it just
Well,
that's
it
why
diminishes
it's so
the
good.
value.
It does, but like when you just go like, oh, these are $5 tickets, you're making an investment in your night, in the show.
Yeah.
And that changes it. And I think Cleveland did a lot of that too. A lot of like, this is free.
It's the worst thing you could ever do to a show, paper it. Because then the people just start talking. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. They'll get up and leave in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Nothing invested in it. For me, it's Connecticut. I don't go to Connecticut.
Yeah, you told me that.
Hartford?
You told me.
Connecticut can suck my dick.
The whole city or just
The whole
club?
state.
The whole state.
Oh, sorry, state.
No disrespect to anybody in Connecticut.
No disrespect.
No disrespect.
I did it like
But
3
you know.
times this year.
Yeah? Woof.
Yeah.
All those people, you know where you live.
I did UConn. I had a great time at UConn. I did the college.
Yeah, a bunch of people from somewhere else.
Yeah.
That are stuck in Connecticut.
That's true.
If I could guarantee that they'd bust people from New York and Boston, I'd do a show there.
So you would never do the Foxwoods?
Oh, boy.
Where are you most excited about to go on this tour?
I like Texas. Well, I mean, I like going places where it's fun.
Yeah.
There's something about Connecticut that's just bleak.
Yeah.
There's like a lack of opportunity. There's something bleak about it. It's almost like an illegitimate state. It's like a highway between Boston and New York. That's really what it is, and it always feels like that when you're there. It just feels weird, like there's a like almost like there's a sadness that permeates the show. Even when they laugh, like,
I love that you hate a place that much.
Yeah.
It really
I've
is
had so many
exciting.
bad sets there.
You know, I feel like I hate a lot of places. When the cameras are off, we can talk about them though.
Oh. Well, Diaz and Ari and I did a show at Foxwoods a few years back, and I told them before, I go, it was like a Monday and a Tuesday night, because they had a comedy club at Foxwoods.
Oh yeah, comedy club and restaurant. I had to put that on my website.
I had a bad-
Foxwoods Comedy Club and restaurant.
They make you say and restaurant?
And restaurant, yeah.
And make you?
Make you. On your promos, they're like, could you fucking say the full name?
Oh my God.
I had a bad one there. I had a bad set there.
So did I. Does anyone have a great?
That was the last time, and I was like, never again. I told you guys before this is probably gonna suck, and Ari was like, I knew it was gonna suck, but I didn't know it was gonna suck.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
It's just the people they wouldn't stop heckling. They were yelling out during Ari's set, yelling out during even Diaz. He's like, will you just shut the fuck up? Like yelling at.
I had someone thrown out of there, and afterwards, my son was talking like, what was going on? I'm like, "Jeez." And they're like, and the other thing is, here's the bad thing about people don't realize about casinos is that there's like this total idea that it benefits any aspect of the casino to keep the customer happy, regardless of every other circumstance. In other words, somebody is upset at the restaurant. Well, let's try to make it right because they're here at the casino. We want them to stay happy. We can't go to a comedy show. Well, whatever they're doing is fine. It's like, no. Whatever they're doing is not fine because this is about the show. But the venue's point of view is this is a gambler. This is somebody who's here to spend money.
Yeah.
So we should always acquiesce to their desires and needs and don't do anything to upset them. That's not how that works, man. Like this is our show.
My favorite with the casino gig is always how they, you've got the ding, 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 the machine sounds, and they're like, but there's a curtain that separates the comedy club from the ding, 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 and you can still hear it. Like,
Well, they actually have a show in Vegas at the South Point, that Dirty at 12:30.
Yeah.
That like you can look out and you see the casino while you're on stage.
Yeah. I don't
Like the
wanna do
back
that.
of the room, there's the bar,
I don't
and
wanna
then
do
the
that.
fucking casino.